out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnett.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark.
It is the Thursday edition of the program here from our Family Fencing Studios here in Reiner. Good morning. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room or on our Professional Door Incorporated text line, 3910788. David Smith going to join us. Going to be with us a little longer today, about 10 minutes or so. Appreciate that. Our NFL correspondent. We'll get the real skinny on who won the Myles Garrett trade. You've made your vote on the Attorney Ryan Pry BDST fan question of the week. The Rams are going to win going away. So we'll have David, and Bob Black will join us, the voice of the Richmond Spiders. We will not have Andy Bitter today because he is rolling dice in Vegas. And I'm not sure. He and Aaron McFarling might be together. I'm not sure if they made that trip together or not, or if it was a family trip. But AB is in Vegas. And we look forward to catching up with him in a couple weeks because I'm out next week. And then Dwight Vick. So we've got another terrific program lined up, and we welcome you in wherever you might be. Hit us up, subscribe, like, and share the channel. We'll get into, hey, I took the time to watch at least the first half of the game last night. Came on after 8:30, so I couldn't stay up. The Knicks get a huge road win. It's not great basketball, but I did see effort. The Knicks play a style that I appreciate, to be honest with you. It's not sexy. They grind it out. They lost Brunson, but here they are able to rally and get the dub. And I sat here all morning waiting for Creed to come back, and as soon as I jump on the air, Creed comes back. Hang on just a second. Come on, buddy. Come on. We have to work on his artistic timing a little bit better there. But good morning, T-Bird. How are you? But it wasn't a horrible game at all. It was just, neither team shot well. I think the Knicks ended up 41%. The Spurs, 36%. It doesn't feel like two teams vying for a championship. But now advantage Knicks going forward. So we'll talk about all that. Nick Saban yesterday in court talking about college athletics. We talk about self-awareness and the lack thereof. I think Nick Saban, because he's widely considered, if he's not the best college football coach of all time, there's a short list, best modern coach for sure. And I think he's having a hard time separating that part of his journey into what he's become now as an ESPN shill. Because the things he was talking about yesterday, I believe he thinks that he's sitting there as the coach as opposed to the analyst who, when he was at Alabama, benefited from pay for play long before it was legal. So we'll get into some of his comments. We'll get your thoughts. He's being widely criticized for hypocrisy, which I 100% agree with. The things he's saying about, it's not something we haven't talked about here how many times, right? He thought he was an Affleck agent. It's out of control. It's not sustainable. We know this. All he's doing is just beating a drum that, is pretty obvious. But I thought it was pretty humorous. It's almost as if he thinks he's above this in a lot of ways, and it's crazy. If anybody tries to pretend, and I know Alabama fans are probably still in denial, but everybody knows what it was like at Alabama for a long time, and this goes all the way back to the Bear Bryant days. Players were being taken care of in ways that we can only imagine, and that was going on throughout the nation. Why it's so hard to talk about, I don't understand. I don't understand why the Blue Chips version of college athletics has been around for 6-7 decades. This isn't something that is a hush-hush revelation, and Nick Saban in Alabama were a large part of that. So as he tries to testify before Congress as a moral authority on what's wrong with college athletics, he didn't have a problem with the money that was coming in from the Alabama Mafia that didn't cost the university money to help him have 4- or 5-star classes all the time. But now it's a major problem that salaries are escalating. And he's right about all this because we talk about it and how the universities can't take on the brunt of this. We know this. This isn't news. But now he's saying, hey, what are we going to do now? And then he's underestimating what's being spent. I buy a player at X amount. He just gave all these examples. It's easy. I was always confused as to why he fit in, why he decided to take that job at ESPN. And now seeing what he's become, I understand how he connects with them because he has the same lack of self-awareness. We want to thank Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Reach out for a free quote today, thanks to Jason Green and company. Mark Hundley is at 155 Walters Drive over in Christiansburg. Best chiropractor in the biz. Go over there. You're having back ailments, your hips, whatever. Let Mark run you through his arsenal of equipment, and he will make you better very quickly. Very quickly. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. Little River Heating and Air, that is 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Get your air units checked out. I know we're waking. This is perfect weather, by the way. We're having beautiful days. It's not humid. Like today's going to be in the 70s. You get to the evening, it's just gorgeous to be outside, and at night it's getting nice and cool. I mean, this morning it's 47, 48, but it feels really good. Like it's not a cold. But at some point, we're going to start getting into the humid days here as we charge toward July. So reach out to Charles Lee. Our BDST fan question of the week is brought to you by the attorney Ryan Pride. Now, we already have next week lined up, thanks to Travis Williams from Professional Door. Or in 2 weeks when I'm back. Not next week, 2 weeks. But this week, the Rams are winning. And the Rams have 31 votes. Who won the trade? The Browns, though, Wayne, if you're around, your Browns have, I guess they got a safety and a field goal. We left them with 8. They now have 13. So the votes are 31-13 in favor of the Rams winning the Myles Garrett trade. National Bank member FDIC, my exclusive banking partner and the exclusive banking partner of this program. I refinanced through them. They made it easy. Jamie at Radford's branch was tremendous. I cannot recommend National Bank enough. Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors. They're on the cusp of beginning year 39 in July. And we're going to have a lot of cool stuff to talk about when we get there. Sponsor of our text line. Go see them right down from New River Community College. They are now a regionally successful business. The Ready Set Fund with Bob Christ. BOBCRST11 at Gmail. It's a terrific thing. I've read up on it. He explained it, and I thought it sounded cool. And then I started going to ReadySetFund.com and reading, and it's a series of text messages. It's really a nice program, and they can get your folks money, whatever you need, you will have it. And they do a great job working with organizations like they did Floyd County softball. I mean, $4,300 in 5 days is no joke. Reach out to Bob Christ, again, BOBCRST11 at Gmail, or check up on the Ready Set Fund. Locally, and he'll take care of you because he's all about community. Sundown Electric, one of the best reputations of any local business down in Elliston, thanks to the Smith brothers. They are dedicated to community. All of our wonderful sponsors are nothing but about community. And that's what's so great, because I think this is a community program. Clear communication, honest, integrity, you name it. Sundown Electric. Give them a call today. And the NRV Super Bowl, 540-382-5525. That's where we're going to do our bash. Midnight Madness every weekend, 11 to 1 a.m. It turns into just a party place, man. They darken the lights, glow in the dark bowling. We will be doing some of that when we get over there for the bash, which will be coming up sooner than later. We're getting there. Got to line up all the people we want there. Coach Elmo, Mike Burnham, Jen. We'll try to see how many people we can get there. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply has been around since 1997. James Lawson built it from scratch, man. And he's kept it going now. You're looking at the 30 years. So 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, parts manufactured for your windows, doors, plumbing, whatever. 540-381-8011. And Top Shelf Apparel, Brandon Pulaski, sponsor of our T-shirts. Awesome. Awesome. From Emerald Isle, where the wavy waters of the North Carolina coast ebb and flow, these Watson newlyweds will be smiling from ear to ear with that honeymoon glow. Wow, look at you. EST is live and real, people. Nicely done, Morris. Nicely done. So anyway, to me, it came across as he talked about a devastating trajectory toward college athletics. Again, his points are the same talking points we've had here. It's not like nothing he said yesterday was like, oh, wow, thank goodness Nick Saban was able to lead us to the promised land to understand what's wrong with college athletics. We could have never gotten there without him. But everybody was paying players. Everybody. Alabama did it to an extreme measure when he was there. I see some of these responses from Alabama fans. Prove it. Where's your proof? I mean, where we are culturally today with people brainwashing. I don't know. It's crazy. We just have such cult-like mindsets today. Nobody wants to be enlightened. Nobody wants to see every side of everything. You know, it's got to just be linear, man. And if people who want to try to act like Alabama did, there's no proof of it. Come on. Well, we got a brief glimpse of it during the USC days with Reggie Bush, right? When finally all that came out, Matt Leinart, that whole group, Pete Carroll. Ed Orgeron was out there, by the way. Dirtiest players in the game. The money that was revealed that Reggie Bush was getting weekly. The little brown bags of gifts left in lockers by people who had access when nobody else was around. It all came out when the national championship was taken away, one of their titles. Ricky W. was about to shake his tail feathers. Yeah, that was really good, Morris. Look at you. You're our wordsmith. Top 10 list of things Big Dog will say once he comes back from the honeymoon. There was a brack there. Yeah. But in any event, he's up there pontificating. I believe he thought he was on a roll. I thought it was pretty humorous. And he's getting, I'm looking at some of the reaction. People are just kind of ripping him as well. He has his staunch defenders. People still kind of have him in this coaching only light. And yet he didn't address what coaches are getting paid. That's never into their mindset. You talk about what universities are responsible to pay toward. He directed it just toward athletes. The ones who made him a very rich man and made him the guy that a lot of people think is the best college football coach ever. But yet he didn't address his former institution. Let's just give Kalen DeBoer $91 million for the hell of it. Right? Let's just do that. Let's just do that. Let's just do it. Where was that in the explanation yesterday? It wasn't. You didn't hear a word about it. So having him there, he probably really believes he did something profound, but I don't believe that that's the case at all. Look, it's great that there's some acknowledgement from different people, I guess, now what's going on, but I don't believe that. Let's put it this way. The hypocrisy that he showed yesterday was on full display. Let's put it that way. On full display. And you can watch the edits and the cuts, and you can go to X and see people's comments. And then there's always going to be an Alabama fan who's going to defend it as if they were clean as a whistle, boy. I mean, he put together 6 or 7 straight top recruiting classes just because he was Nick Saban in Alabama and no other reasons. And then there are people try to say, you think Alabama was able to outspend the other programs that were doing that? We don't know. How do you know? There are no numbers shared. This was under the table. This was illegal. You think they're going to report that to their taxes? No, this was money that was pulled together from people who could do it because they love Alabama football so much. They knew they had the best coach in the country, and they wanted to make sure he had the best players, and it worked. Let's stop pretending that never happened. Let's stop pretending that wasn't the rule of law, because it was everywhere. And just because Alabama wasn't backed by the same oil tycoons and moguls that the Texas schools are and things like that doesn't mean they didn't have plenty in the reserve. Blue chips is blue chips released when it was for a reason. Right? Any event. Yes, Mike and Wayne, different Wayne. Oh, Wayne from Ohio, you're being challenged. I watched the first half of game 1. Here's my impressions. I haven't watched the Knicks all year. I'm impressed by the way they play. They play hard. Now, to me, that's what I'm looking for in today's NBA. It's bad basketball. I watched Wembanyama last night. I know everybody raves. I wasn't real impressed with him. Spurs shot under 40%. I wasn't impressed with them at all. So I kind of came at it like a newbie because I hadn't watched the league. The league doesn't do anything for me now. But I do appreciate the grittiness and the toughness of the Knicks. I liked that. They lost Brunson, and they're on the road, and they're able to come back and hold the home team under 100 points in today's NBA. They are a good defensive team. I have this mindset toward football. I have this mindset toward baseball. I like that aspect of the sports. I like a great defensive football team. I like a pitcher's duel, and I like to see teams that are dedicated to playing defense. And the Knicks play and are dedicated. They understand their personality, and they knew they had to work harder once Brunson hurt his ankle. I was impressed with the Knicks last night from what I saw. And then I got up. I couldn't stay up because it got so late. But since I have to be up at 4. But I went back and watched the second half. That's what's great about YouTube, man. That's why I like being on this platform. You can go right to the game and find it, pick it up, and you can get the highlights of things, and it's really cool. T-Bird says he found Bigfoot. He lives in a trailer in MRI. Oh, cool. Well, if I find him, I will see. Maybe he and I will record something, and we'll put it on the channel. I am going to record some stuff while we're away and put it on the channel. Not, all the stuff. But, the good stuff. Well, I won't say the good stuff. The scenic things. How's that? We'll do the scenic things. That's coming up Saturday. Yeah, getting married Saturday. Yeah. Here in our big backyard. By the way, a lot of people have been asking on the professional door text line, which I appreciate. Just something simple. Second time around for both of us. Kids will all just be here. Her BFF. I don't understand why Wemby doesn't just camp out in the lane. He plays like an 8-foot shooting guard. Yeah, he does. He does. And I know he's a freak of nature. And he's a great athlete. he has these innate advantages, but I'm not blown away by him like Keon is. Right now, I'm not. I mean, I'm not saying he's not going to be what Keon says he's going to be, but I don't watch him play and go, ooh, there's an all-timer. It's too – I mean, we like to do that, right? He's 22, whatever he is. Let's just wait and see. We thought Giannis was going to be a top 10 all-time NBA player. He's disappeared off the face of the earth. There's no Panarin in Emerald. Oh, well, then we're changing the reservation. You mean I get to keep all of my teeth? If you find Bigfoot, don't let him steal Janet. I hear he's a real smoozer. Well, he's got those long locks of brown hair. She might be smitten. But the Spurs now, pressure's on them. If you go down 0-2, you lose at home, you got to go back to New York, and that crowd that hasn't won a title since 73, whenever it was, you got no shot. You got no shot. So they better step up and get this thing at 1-1. When are they playing game 2? Like in August? They spread this thing out ridiculously, and I don't understand. All right, so game 2 is Friday. I couldn't remember what they said last night. That's not too bad. Okay, we'll take a day off. Morris, you're way too kind, man. I just got your text, brother. Thank you. Thank you. David Smith, Bob Black, and Dwight. Did you see this, by the way? What do you think? I'm going to wait and show it again. We have the logo finalized for Victory from the Tunnel. I'm going to wait. Again, this isn't me. I'm not criticizing Wembanyama at all. But Brunson had 30. He got hurt and he had 30 points. Jalen Brunson, I'm a fan. How can you not be? He's an old school player to me. Wembanyama 6 for 21. He had 26 points, 12 rebounds, 6 of 21. And to T-Bird's point, or Brian's point, 2 of 9 from 3. But he turned it over 7 times. I don't like his support on his team at all. I think the Knicks are going to win the series and win their first title in what? You're looking at 50 years. But I was impressed. I was impressed with Brunson, and I was impressed with the way the Knicks defend. And as somebody who's, I guess you can call me old school. I hate those terms. I just grew up in a different era. I love defensive mindset. I love defensive basketball. When I was my Rockets, when they won their titles, they had Hakeem, who was just in a different realm of not from this earth, but they defended their tails off. Rudy Tomjanovich was the head coach. They had guys on the perimeter, Vernon Maxwell and Sam Cassell, Mario Elie off the bench, they were dedicated to getting in your grill and making you uncomfortable, and they thrived off of it. Nobody wanted to line up against Mario Elie. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but he and Mitchell Wiggins, they had a lot of key cogs in that team. Otis Thorpe. Any of these names ring a bell? Otis Thorpe, one of my all-time favorite players. He was so integral to those Rockets teams. Man. But they got after it. But in any event, I digress. Joining us now on the program is this guy, David Smith. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm sorry. I logged into the wrong show. I thought
I started reminiscing about my Rockets. Sorry.
No. Are you talking NBA? Like
I am.
And were you positive for a second? Because I've been wanting to say something about it forever. I was afraid you'd throw me off the platform. I'm like, man, if this isn't getting you a little bit excited, and listen, I get, if you want to talk about October and November NBA basketball, we get it. That's just it's a means to an end. I get it. But finals right now, you've got this alien who plays it the way you would love it to be. He's non-compromising. we're going to play hard in the All-Star game. Of course, I'm trying to win every game. I'm crying when we win the conference finals. That's the kind of guy that'll get you back into it, Rick, against a Knicks team that plays it the way I know you enough to know the way it's supposed to be played.
Yes, I was impressed.
Not led by a salary cap driven star that they tried to get forever. They decided years ago, and who knew that would be the right way, to not worry about it if KD didn't come, not worry about it if LeBron didn't come. We'll take Jalen Brunson, who didn't take the max money, who could have. No, I'm good. He took. I mean, no one does that. And matter of fact, I don't know that I would advise him to do that.
I know.
Quite frankly. But he did that. His Villanova guys happened to be part of the mix, made of the right stuff. And
right stuff, right.
And it's just one game, and to get through all this is not easy. And I don't want anybody to give me any of this. And I know this isn't what we signed up for today, but I'm just gonna finish. Because I've been wanting to talk about it a little bit. And he is, and that team is exactly what you want. Made the way you don't have to go and spend $1 million. I mean, think of those guys they've got. I mean, Josh Hart was all over the place. Mikal Bridges, 2, 3, 4 teams. I mean, he got drafted to go to Phoenix. He didn't go to Philly where his mom worked. All those kinds of things.
I know.
Jalen Brunson, second-round pick. His dad's video of him training him went viral, and everybody thought it was child abuse, the way he was working his son. Just all that stuff is just what New York wants. Now watch they go out and lose 4 straight and make.
I know those Spurs will rally, yeah.
but Rick, what's not to love about the Spurs? Same kind of team, right? Same kind of team. Same kind of team.
Yeah, I don't like their supporting cast as much at all. Fox is okay.
Well, I guess what I'm saying when I say same kind of team, they've got this freak. Alien is once in a. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. For those of us that, yes, I remember Mario Elie, by the way, and Kenny Smith and Sam Cassell.
I know you do.
And Mad Max and Otis Thorpe when they got from South Carolina. Otis Thorpe was a grown man, and Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith, all he does is talk with Charles Barkley. Kenny Smith.
No, he was our shooter. He was his point guard.
Forget, he was an All-American at Carolina, the whole nine. And so you put all that together. But what I mean with San Antonio is, they've got guys that are pieces that you may know them when they were in college, but you may have forgotten. People, Vassell, where did he even go? I had to look up where he went. I think he may have been Florida State. Maybe, I'm not sure yet. Castle played at UConn where they won it, but he's a player. Of course, Fox we've seen forever, but Fox is the old head. He's got 9 years in the league. He played at Kentucky in 2016 or 17 with Bam in that group. And so Malik Monk. So it's fun to watch. It's going to be a real interesting series. Knicks, they hit him with the first blow, so we're going to see now.
They did. Body blow. Got to absorb it, see what happened. That's right.
There you go.
Speaking of body blows,
let's go.
I believe the Cleveland Browns fan base has just been hit with a couple of Mike Tyson overhand rights followed up by an uppercut. I don't think we see Myles Garrett's in this league maybe once every 10, 15, 20 years. I know they had a guy named Aaron Donald who was kind of the next best defensive player I'd seen since a certain number 56 roaming the field in New York. But now they get this guy in their Super Bowl window for Matthew Stafford going for his second ring. They got kind of criticized a little bit for the quarterback they took at the draft, but I understand some of the reasoning. They don't draft very high very often. We talked about it. I get it. But to all that aside, they have a GM and a coaching staff and ownership that says the Cronkies say, you know what, you're our people, do your jobs. They don't care about draft picks. You feel like this is going to work, it's going to work. And they pulled off what I think is the final piece to a team that's going to now be everybody's favorite to win the Super Bowl. I want to get your thoughts because I've seen so many people trying to apologize for the Browns and say that they won this trade. And I'm just looking at this going, no, they didn't.
Well, here's the thing, Rick. We'll start with the Rams of it all. And anytime, I think teams, Rick, when you look at this, and you and I are watching this stuff for a long time, you try to decide what is the team's mission. What is it you're trying to do? Have a plan. It can even be wrong. It could end up wrong, but you can at least say, here's what we're thinking.
Right.
Because Rick, a lot of this is dependent upon players and athletes making plays and putting them in position and all that stuff. But you at least want to be able to start a season and say, here's what we're looking to do. Well, the Rams have made it clear what they're looking to do.
100%.
And when they drafted Simpson from Alabama, and everybody went crazy. Now you look back and you know that they probably in the back rooms were saying, "Don't worry, Matthew. You'll see what this is all about. Just trust me on it."
100%. Yep.
Now, at the time, we all were, and some people still are. Couldn't you get him some pieces to help him get there? Why would you do these kinds of things? I have enough confidence in Sean McVay, this 2.0 version of Sean McVay, this McVay that you pointed out, right?
Yeah.
Once he decided he was going to come back and coach football again, not that he wasn't, but like there's coaching and then there's in it.
He was there, but he wasn't there for a couple of years, it felt like, right?
He felt like he was in that. I wonder if he's going to pull a John Madden in 9 years and get out of this thing or whatever, or Gruden and go do broadcasting or whatever, which at some point I'm sure he will do after he stacks a few more of these chips, and he'll be great at it, and he won't be able to turn it off because he'll be awesome. He'll be Madden. I think he'll be Madden, quite frankly. But so you get what they're trying to do now, Rick, and so they went big game hunting. When they went and got McDuffie, we should have seen signs of this.
Well,
they weren't just playing around. They were like, you know what? Here's the places we're missing.
That's right.
The pieces we're missing.
Identification.
We're not going to draft. We're going to go get players. Let's get an all-pro corner and his cohort from the Chiefs. Let's go get Myles, who was the biggest fish in the sea, right? Let's go get Myles Garrett. Now, the interesting part about it, if you're Cleveland, is this, and I've seen it both ways. When you sent me the message, I was in a meeting and my jaw hit the ground.
I know, me too. That's why I sent it to you immediately. I was like, David's got to see this.
I said, oh my goodness gracious. So when I got a break, I go out and I start scrolling and kind of reading what this was. And then I said, well, what did they get for it? So if you're Cleveland, here's what you know. You've had Myles Garrett, I think, 8 or 9 years, and you've got nothing. You've got nothing. You got nothing to show for it. What were you going to be this year with him? He set the sack record. There you go. You really not even scratched the surface of being a contender, other than the Baker Mayfield year, where I think you beat Pittsburgh in the playoff.
The
playoff game.
All right, you lose him.
and you lose him too. So it seems to me that Cleveland, at this particular point, doesn't know what they're going to do. But what they do know is that they're not there yet. So maybe if you're them, you're saying, we've got him here. Can we gain some picks? Now, I'm not saying that this is the Herschel Walker move, because I think that they got a first, then a second, and then a third. But they did get a stud player. They got a decent player. I think that they weren't going to make the deal if they couldn't have gotten Verse. I think it's exactly what they were talking about. They said that wasn't going to happen. And even if
extra number one, they said, right, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. The Rams didn't want to let him go either, because they were really trying to stack. It's impossible to think you were going to not have to give him up to get Myles Garrett.
I know.
But you can ask. I mean, you can ask.
You can try. You can try.
No. You mean you're not going to give him up? Oh, yes, you are. So Rick, I have to say the Rams won the deal. If we have to say that they won the deal, I don't know that Cleveland lost the deal, because Cleveland's terrible. So they're terrible anyway.
They're going to be terrible, right?
Now the question for Cleveland is this: what are you trying to be? I looked at the roster, Rick. Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. You still really have, unless we don't know everything, and that's very possible. We're sitting here on headphones and microphones, and they may have a guy that we don't know is ready to go. There's been quiet talk that Deshaun Watson has looked okay, right? But he's going to have to really. You talk about a guy that had it all, that has all of a sudden. I mean, he's had, from his own personal circumstances that he created to his own injury situation, which no one wishes upon anyone. It's going to be one of those years where it looks like it's going to be a trial again to see who's going to quarterback this football team. And you're not going to do much without that being buttoned up. Interestingly enough, Rick, the best asset of that football team last year was their defense. But what did they go and do? They've traded away the best player on the planet, and they let the defensive coordinator not get the head coaching job in Jim Schwartz, who probably had the identification of that program. Don't you think, Rick?
100%.
In my opinion.
100%.
So now there's a defense that's got, you now got Jared Verse. You've got Denzel Ward. I'm looking through this. Grant Delpit. You've got pieces. You've got Alex Wright on the other defensive end across from where Verse is going to be. They're not a bad defensive football team. But the question will be, will they be the same defensive football team without Myles Garrett? You can't be the same.
No chance.
You wouldn't think.
No chance. No.
But more importantly, the guy calling the shots, Jim Schwartz, he had the pulse of that defense. They were buying into it. Even the last 2 years when they were putrid, they were still top 5 defense in the league in terms of points allowed per game and yards allowed per game. So when you talk about that to me was something you could have built on. And I thought that the offense let them down last year by just not identifying the quarterback position. I don't think they've recovered since they did not keep Baker Mayfield. And so they've went big game hunting for Deshaun Watson. We all know about the guaranteed contract that was so absurd that years ago it was signed, and no one has approached that level of guaranteed contract since. Everyone thought that was going to be the one to tip the quarterback salaries. Remember, Rick, everybody goes, oh my goodness, that's going to be the end of it. Not at all. It was so absurd that no one has approached that level of guaranteed money since. And that never happens in sports. Once one is done, then everybody now does. And then this one does. But that has not happened at all. And so if you're Cleveland, you can't get out of your own way. And so right now, this is one of those deals where, again, back to what is your plan? Is your plan now to just get through it, accumulate picks, and hope next year for that quarterback that can come in?
Yeah, I think so.
Whether it be Arch Manning, whose dad probably not going to let him go there, right? You know,
more than likely, yes.
So have we seen that before? Probably have. So you've got that scenario lining up, or you're going to get the quarterback from Oregon, or will any of them want to go there? Somebody will want the job. I'm not sure who it'll be, and I'm not sure if there's any free agent lying around that want to go there and play either. So if you're Cleveland right now, I'll just be interested to see moving forward, what exactly are you going to be looking to do as you take on this tough division's always a monster, Rick, even with the teams having a lot of quarterback and coaching changes. No question about it.
Remember, we were on this too, David. We talked about this a few weeks ago when they went through the summer, right before they hired Todd Monken. They went to Myles Garrett and said, "Hey, you know, let's have a conversation about." And he immediately endorsed Jim Schwartz, as you're saying. Look, some of the same wording. He's got a pulse, and he can get this thing turned around. He'll hire the right offensive coaches. Blah blah blah. You come to me, I'm your star. I've never complained. I've lined up every day, knowing that we don't have the pieces, but I'm your leader. Okay, thank you, Myles. But you know what? We really don't care what you think. We're going to hire this guy, an offensive coach, and totally ignore you. And I think that set the stage, and maybe they had already planned for this to happen. I don't know. But I think the Rams are getting a selfless guy. I keep hearing all this. He's 31. I don't care. Has he shown any signs that he just set the sack record? He takes better, 30. Right? And how motivated is he going to be out there with this team now?
Oh,
wow.
And listen, Rick, not to mention the fact that I don't think last year we said, well, he set the sack record. He's 30. Wow. We're not talking about LeBron being 41. It's like, man, hamstrings at 41. 40, I would understand it. Myles Garrett, the one thing I look at him and don't think is about his age. No. He doesn't look like he is slowed at all. He just set the sack record, ladies and gentlemen. And that's with everybody knowing he's the best in the game, and he's still getting through double teams in the whole bit. No, absurd. No question.
Yeah. And the Rams now, I mean, where can this take them? We know they have a Hall of Fame quarterback. They have a great coach. I hear great things about the rehab for Puka. It's great news. Yep. He tackled his problem. I have a lot of respect. He was very aggressive. He knew he was developing an issue, and he took care of it. He's going to be ready. I don't see weaknesses, man, with this football team. The offensive line is good. And this, I think you said it. They identified the two things on defense that they probably went back and went, why didn't we beat Seattle? Well, right? And now they don't have Kenneth Walker. The Rams are going to be everybody's favorite, and rightfully so, to win the Super Bowl.
Well, I think now the only thing they've got to fight is expectation. And so for them now, it's going to be like,
that's right.
They're now everybody's darling. I mean, like, there's no one that's not going to say, oh, it's got to be the Rams. I mean, unless you're just trying to have a pick to be different, you can't look at that team and say, and you and I we'll make picks later on down the road once we establish everybody and we'll go through all these teams. It's going to be hard for either of us to not like the Rams. Heck, you liked them last year. You had them pegged for a while. You thought that they were the team. And of course, if they pick up the football that's laying on the ground instead of Seattle walking in with a 2-point conversion and getting the 1 seed and having to go through Seattle,
right.
that team probably in a lot of people's eyes was the best football team last year as well. And so when you think about them, they were if they hadn't made the move, a lot of people thought they were going to win it. Now you're saying to them, is this Reggie White going to Green Bay?
Yes. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Yes.
Right? Is this Reggie White? Because a Green Bay team that was knocking, and Reggie goes to Green Bay, and there's a Brett Favre that's like, oh, he's with us now? It just, the room just elevates. You can, the tide raises all boats kind of thing. Now you've got him in there. And of course, in the sport of football, somebody's got to occupy that guy. He's got to shift that line to that guy. There's going to be free runners abound. Whoever the defensive coordinator is for that Rams football team, he is somewhere in the lab. Right? He probably can't sleep. He's probably saying, we're going to move. We're going to line him up we may put him at safety for a play. We may just go crazy. Just let him come downhill with a head of steam at about 18 miles an hour. Good luck. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the Rams right now are everybody's darling, Rick. And so all that means is who's going to clip them? Who's going to be in the NFC that can clip them? And so there's always somebody we don't know about.
There is.
But barring injury, and if you can keep Matthew Stafford upright, that's going to be the other thing. He is probably the only thing that could be a detriment to the success of that team is if something happens to Matthew Stafford.
100%. Got to keep him upright.
They could probably absorb a lot of other stuff. He's a force multiplier anyway. He can make things better. Receiver's not there, no big deal. I can make it. I can wing it. But if he's not there, I think he might be the only irreplaceable person on that team that could probably take it off the rails if he doesn't stay upright.
100%. Agree. Well, we can put the Browns to bed now. We've talked about them. We are scheduled to look at the North. And what's good news for all of you today and for me? I asked David, we know Andy's in Vegas and he can hang out till, a little after 7. So we're going to have David a little longer. So I appreciate that. And we got a lot to talk about the AFC North. And I guess we go to Pittsburgh, one of the most popular franchises in the NFL. A lot of changes there, not a change at quarterback. He's going to be back one more year. But the big story is, can Pittsburgh find an identity under a different Mike? Mike McCarthy comes in. He's had success. I think he's generally a good dude. Players like him, but he's not Mike Tomlin. And there's an identity there that's been lost with Mike Tomlin being there. I think he's 1 year in the studio. Then I think Mike Tomlin's back on the field in 2027. At least I hope so. But what do you think? Just so much change in Pittsburgh from the top on down.
This one, Rick, has me totally guessing how it's going to turn out because Mike McCarthy has had great success with Green Bay. Success with Green Bay. It ended in Green Bay almost not quite like with Mike Tomlin, but it was almost one of those that for some reason in the NFL, things run its course because I'm not exactly sure that Mike McCarthy was hated when he left Green Bay. It just seemed like to me he was coaching Green Bay. I think he followed the Holmgren run and that kind of thing. And he was there for a while. You had Favre, and then you had Aaron Rodgers, and they were competing and they were doing well. It won a Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden it was Mike. McCarthy's done at Green Bay. I don't really know if it was anything that was horrible. I think the Green Bay Packers are always a pretty competitive football team. I don't know much about there being a lot of strife. He's just one of those blue collar. He just comes in, he punches the clock, and he goes to work. But now. He's also coached. Now this is the third iconic franchise that he's coached. Now he's coached Dallas, which was right. It wasn't like elite or whatever. No. It was just kind of blah. But I don't think it was like they won 1-15. So he's always been a fine coach. He's also a championship coach, and he's won more games than he's lost. Now Pittsburgh kind of surprised folks when he made the move to go to him because you had Tomlin, and I didn't know who the successor was going to be. In fact, we talked about God bless the successor to Mike Tomlin because I've yet to hear anybody talk about how Mike Tomlin wasn't the right guy for Pittsburgh, even through all that, particularly among Pittsburgh players. I think their own frustration amongst themselves, they all felt disappointed that they just couldn't get over the hump. And even when Mike Tomlin talked about it, he said, those guys deserve to have thing to go further than we've had in the playoffs, and we haven't done it in the playoffs. But I don't think folks were like, Mike Tomlin, you're the reason we didn't win it. That
Right,
kind of thing.
right.
But sometimes, Rick, I think now I'm speaking out of both sides, maybe it has run its course when we tried it, we've done it.
In one spot.
There.
Yeah.
It just, and even if it's not him, maybe I think what we're going to find is maybe what he was doing was all he could do with what he had, right? The way they were building the team. They were always doing stuff on the defensive side of the ball, and they were moderate on offensive drafting or free agency drafting.
Yeah.
And so even when he went for Aaron Rodgers, that was his play on kind of what the Rams were doing. We got an older defense. We've got Cam Hayward. We got T.J. Watt. We've got Patrick Queen, not old per se. Joey Porter. We've got some experienced guys. Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
On the offensive side of the football, we went hunting, got DK Metcalf. Seattle easily allowed him to go there. And so, but they've got pieces that he thought Aaron Rodgers would be the guy that could take him past it. Well, he got banged up a little last year. The Aaron Rodgers that I saw, Rick, looked a little like he was gun shy in the pocket. He looked like he was seeing the rush. There it is. Let's cut to it, Dave. He looked old.
He looked old last year to me.
You don't want to get hit. Even when he ran, he was running. He was looking behind him, kind of like me when I was a kid and the dogs was running after me. Maybe you didn't have that in your neighborhood.
Oh, we did. We did.
Everybody got these leash laws now.
Yeah.
Where the heck were they in the 70s?
Right.
By my cousin Malcolm's house, and that German Shepherd that he never tied up was running after him. It's like, God almighty, you hope to creep by. He looked that way at the rush last year, Rick. And so I think about Pittsburgh, I have so many questions around what I think it's going to be. They've got some really nice names on offense, though. You've got Darnell Washington just re-upped as a tight end. He's that 6'7", 300-pound behemoth that Aaron Rodgers found comfort in last year because it's easy to dump off to those tight ends and let them go do the grind. So throwing the football down the field, Pittsburgh's going to have to do more of that. That to me, that's where it really, because folks started sensing that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004. He's going to be like 1,000, goodbye. He's not trying to take that smoke. And so that's going to be interesting to see if McCarthy and him can align themselves in a way to have productivity on offense enough that an old defense doesn't have to stay on older defense, doesn't have to stay on the field and do the brunt of the work. We recognize Pittsburgh's model is having an incredible defense in the running game, and they've got Warren in the backfield to do that. Aaron Rodgers' best friend is a good running game. It'll be interesting to see how they do that. We're going to find out real soon how they do. They're going to open the season against the Falcons. Who knows how that's going to work out, whether it be Tua behind center or Michael Penix back from his ACL. And then they're at New England the next Sunday before they then face the Bengals. And so they close the season out at Baltimore. Ironically, the Steelers and Baltimore, of course, they're going to close the season out playing each other. So they played Baltimore twice in the last 4 games. And so for me, when I think about this thing, it comes down to 2 things. One is, can Aaron Rodgers quit looking like the dog's chasing him and play football like we know he can? And again, to be 41 or 42 years old by season's end back there dealing with these young bucks, good luck to you. So that's number one. And number 2, will this version of Mike McCarthy be able to establish a running game to help provide some balance for Pittsburgh so that they don't have to rely on a 42-year-old quarterback, and then see if they can make some moves in a division that's got a lot of changes going on and a lot of opportunity? Who's going to be the one that's the one that grabs it the most?
Well, and the next team we're going to talk about, similar situation, change at the top. It's, John Harbaugh being in New York is going to look strange for a while. I think he's going to fall in it. But Jesse Minter was a guy who was there before. So he went back. They were familiar with him. I heard Harbaugh really went to the mat for him to get that job. They had enough respect for John Harbaugh. So he's going back to where he was. He left L.A. The Chargers, I don't think that defense was ever great. They were okay. I don't know what kind of head coach this was. Of all the head coaches, and maybe I don't know. I felt like there were other guys that could have been better fit here. I understand why he's a fit. How do you see this fit, and how does this more importantly fit for the guy who's still chasing that first ring, their franchise, Lamar Jackson?
Don't you think, though, Rick, that in this particular case, it reminds me a little bit of the Carolina basketball potential hire. They wanted to stay family-driven in this thing as much as anything. They felt, to me, maybe they felt like it was important to have a connectivity to people who know the Ravens way in as much as we could. And hopefully we could do it with a guy. So in other words, we know Harbaugh is going to leave, and we're grateful for what he's done. And it just appeared as though that he even segued it. And like you said, he was kind enough to kind of almost leave a note on the desk kind of metaphor.
Yeah.
Here's the things, here's where the stuff is kind of thing. You handle your business. It almost seems like that kind of transfer of power almost. But they wanted to be able, you know, the Ozzie Newsomes and the DeCostas of the world wanted to kind of keep, because I think they didn't feel like, Rick, to me, that it was all so bad. Like there's the defensive identity of the Baltimore Ravens drives that bus 100%. And as much as Lamar is two-time MVP, has done everything but get to the Super Bowl and this, that, and the other, and he knows he's got to play better in playoff games to take him over the hump. But they're identified by their defensive prowess. You know, we talked about Pittsburgh, but the Ravens, you know, play like a Raven is the moniker that they have. So to me, I think that this is what they wanted to build on. Let's get back to making sure, because the Ravens defense the last couple of years has not been that way.
It's not been good. Yeah.
It's not at all. It hadn't been, you know, there's just, I mean, I can't believe I'm seeing free runners all the time. And Rick, listen to, I'm a guy that cherishes names that mean something. Roquan Smith, Nnamdi Mbukwe, right? You've got Trey Hendrickson now from the Bengals. So that was the big game hunting that they went and got. That was the right?
Big, yeah.
After the debacle with Matt Crosby, it didn't work out. That whole, I
still don't know what happened. I know.
For something that was on the front of everybody's tongue early in free agency that has really had no more legs in a while. That one was really, really interesting to me. They kind of like they've settled for 1A here, but it's not like he's not a good football player. So they got a guy that they've identified that's going to be good. You got Kyle Hamilton, you got Malachi Starks, and you got Marlon Humphrey. You got Awuzie as well. You got pieces. Baltimore's defense should be better than that. They should be better than that. And so my opinion is they bring Mentor in to kind of shore that up. Now Todd Monken's gone. Harbaugh's gone. So you got all those guys that you used to have that are gone. Greg Roman used to be there. He's gone. So now, Lamar, you're left. And now the light's shining on you. We've got the defense good. Lamar's been there for OTAs, which is unique for him. Non-mandatory stuff. He's shown up, trying to show goodwill toward Mentor perhaps, or just needing to be there. We still got Derrick Henry, who talk about ageless and timeless, Rick.
Right.
He's older than Myles Garrett. It doesn't seem to be slowing down at all.
Nobody talks about that much. I'll do that.
It doesn't slow down at all. And in fact, I as much as he's good, I'm not so sure that they use him enough. There's times he's on the sideline in the game, and I'm thinking, that guy's not tired. He's worked out harder than that in June. Put him in the football game. And you got Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews to survive. They did lose Ricard, the fullback, and likely they both went to the Giants to follow Harbaugh. So they lost some depth there. And so the key to me, though, for Pittsburgh, for the Ravens, it's always going to be, can you keep Lamar right? And they lost Lindenbaum to the Raiders. The Raiders went and paid him the highest price for any center because they knew Mendoza was going to need somebody that's going to hold it down. He was probably one or two of the best centers along with Creed Humphrey in the league. So they wanted to make sure they had that. So the Ravens lost their center. I think now, Rick, when you start thinking about them, it's going to be real interesting to see if Lamar can stay upright and they can focus on running the football and that defense. And for me, that's really what it's about for the Ravens. But I think too, Rick, it's getting late early for Baltimore. You know, I live with a Raven fan, and she's got the pulse of her city, and she asks a lot of times, you know, how's things up there, and that she's like, you know, they kind of getting a little restless. You know, this change here now, you know, they wanted to change, and now that it's happened, it kind of was like, well, dang, I guess they really did make the change. All right, so they're now all in on the change, and so now with change, people have expectations. So now, not that Baltimore hasn't had them before. So when I think about that, they're going to open up against the Colts, which is one of the hated games for Baltimore. Anytime Baltimore plays the Colts, they hate it. They hate it. It's at Baltimore. It's at Indy this year. So Baltimore has no love for anything with Colts on it, which what happened to them in 1984. So they'll open with the Colts. We'll see how that is. And then they got New Orleans, and then they go to Brazil to play Dallas, and then they're home for Tennessee. So right out the gate, not the hardest schedule. I did notice when I was looking over this last night, They have their last 4 games are division games. Last 4. So they only played 2 division games before week 14 in December. So they only have 2 division games before then. So a lot of their hay is going to be made late. You've got at Pittsburgh, home for Cleveland, at Cincy, and then Pittsburgh at home. So the 4 games that could show up the division are all at the end. NFL loves that stuff, though. I don't hate it either. You got so much drama down the stretch. You'll have weather, you'll have cold, and all those games. Nobody's got no domes up there, buddy. You're talking Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. All outdoors, all in December to January. Bundle up for the division wrap-up. So we're going to see, Rick, what Baltimore can do under the new regime. It's going to be a lot of intrigue between them and Pittsburgh and the new regime.
Well, last and maybe not least, because we've already talked about the Browns, but the Bengals and their journey is interesting, right? Zach Taylor was a hot shot out of the gate. He got him to the Super Bowl about 3 years in 2022, narrowly lost to that Rams team. They haven't been able to keep Joey Burrow healthy. They have one of the best receivers in the league. They don't really have an identity coming off a 6-11 season. I think he's like 9 or 10 games under 500. He has a really good postseason record, but they don't get there very often. Zach Taylor's getting one more shot. It feels like to me this might be his last shot. And I guess when you look at this team, we've talked about it already. Any success they're going to have, they have to keep number 9 upright, because when he's not, this is a bad, bad football team.
Not only keep him upright, but there's some fluky things he's had. God bless him. He had the knee the first time, then he's had a wrist. He's had Joe Burrow, you name it. He just gets clipped, it seems like, right? He just, for whatever reason. But there is no denying one thing. When he's on the field, he's the dude. He really is the dude. And we just can't seem to see it enough, other than that 2-year stretch where they got to the Super Bowl and they made their run the second year. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that he just hadn't been able to stay on the field. I mean, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, I mean, what are we going to say? He's got all the weapons he needs. Yeah. Joe Burrow, we got what he needs. The offensive line has not given him what he's needed for the longest time. He's probably one of the most sacked players in the league, and Joe Burrow doesn't need to be hit 60 times in terms of being sacked and hit another 40 times. Joe Burrow's got to stay upright. So have they addressed that enough? We're going to find out soon enough, because you get the feeling that he asked for all these pieces, as he should, as the quarterback and the leader of the team. He kind of maybe put his team on notice too. Look now, we've got to be able to get this thing right. And I'm sure the team is saying, all right, we need to make sure you're right too. And all right, we need to make sure we're shored up front. So I think all that is important to do. And he's done it in a succinct way. Joe Burrow wants to play football. I think last year there were some games where they were out of, he still wanted to play.
Yeah.
So
he did.
I have respect for that. You know, you want to be on the football field. And he talked about it. He said, we play football. He says, this is what we do. So I appreciate that. Just take care of yourself, you know, because behind him in the depth chart is Joe Flacco. Talk about old. You know, Joe Flacco is LeBron's age. And he's still old. Playing court. He is old. And this is not like, why you call him old? Because he is old. He's got more gray than black in his beard. I can tell you that. And he's got pieces though that I think are subsequently solid enough on the offensive side. Now on the defensive side, they lost Hendrickson, but they did get Dexter Lawrence, which was a really good coup for them, because they needed to kind of make sure that the defense was buttoned up on that side of the football. And I think that their defense is fine. I don't think their defense is like, we can lead with it, but I think their defense is solid enough that they can make sure that they aren't the problem for their football team. To me, I just feel like this team right here has a lot more around being available, Rick, to be able to be okay. I think when I think about, you know, them, it's really led by, it's a Joe Burrow-led production. Let's just call it.
Yeah, it is. It is. He's the lead actor. Yeah.
He is it. And I think for them, this is an opportunity for them, Rick, with all of the changes that's going on in the division. You've got you're new in Baltimore and you're new in Pittsburgh. The uniforms are going to look the same, but the infrastructure is going to be different. To me, this is an opportunity for Cincinnati to slide in and make some noise. I actually think that they might do it, to be quite frank with you. I think this could be their chance, because they're going to play with a lot more desperation this year, because I think they're a little tired of just kind of middling in the mud and not really stepping up. I mean, the years keep moving by. You know, you only get so many licks at this thing. And, if you're talking about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, those guys are 1,000-yard receivers on the end with all the changes going on in Pittsburgh and in Baltimore and at Cleveland on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like Cincinnati's going to actually take a step up this year. I have a lot of confidence in them to be able to do that. But again, as we talk about when we go through all 32 of these teams, and we're going to hit every single one of them, we're always going to lead with one thing. If they can stay healthy. If they can stay healthy at key positions. And so you think about them, that's some of the stuff that concerns me a little bit about them. But I am actually probably a little more bullish on the Bengals than I would have been had there not been so much change in the division, because I really feel like Cincinnati is talented enough to do it. They just haven't pushed through it yet enough to do it. And so I think it's definitely going to be very interesting to see. And of course, Cincinnati, the only team in that division, this will make Rick really mad, that still has turf. They're the only team in that division that has turf.
They got to get rid of that turf. And you wonder, too, their mindset may be like, all right, we are the only team, the only organization that kept our coach in this division, right? Everybody else has got a brand new coach. So maybe they are trying to take advantage of a little stability and how things are run, even though they lost their star defensive player. But you're right, they had a nice recovery. Maybe that's part of the mindset here, because there is going to be, no matter who the players are, you change over your coaching staff. It's going to be different. We've already seen Cleveland lose their best player basically because of it. I think it led a lot to it. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe you're right. Maybe just seeing Cincinnati saying, you know what, we're the ones that's going to kind of maintain ourselves here. We'll see if they can make a jump. So yeah, it's there.
And if you think about Baltimore, you think about Pittsburgh. Even last year when the season began for both of those teams, there was conversation around, is this going to be the last year for Harbaugh? Is this going to be the last year for Tomlin?
For whatever reason. And
so each week you just can sense that it's in the mix. Even in press conferences, you can just kind of say, is this the last time Tomlin will be in Pittsburgh? All those kinds of things. They may not be factors, but it's not nothing either. And so now you've got Cincinnati who's not going to have any of that right now, you would hope. Now, if things start to go south, you're not going to fire Joe Burrow. You're not going to fire Jamar Chase. At that particular point, it can come back to you. But I've not sensed anybody really feeling any kind of way about the regime at Cincinnati, other than they just haven't won enough football games.
They haven't won, right?
They haven't won a lot of football games. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that guys are on the sidelines a lot instead of playing. So this will be an opportunity for them to kind of change that narrative.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, great stuff. We'll look at the South in the AFC, which is just, to me, a very I don't really have a clue what's going to happen in that division. I know that there's one team that I think you and I agree they're going to be the obvious favorite, but everybody else, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting when I hear you tell you. It's going to be dicey. It really, really is. And I do appreciate you hanging on a little extra this morning, man.
No problem. I did want to leave you with this because I'm going to try to do this for each division.
Yeah.
I've got Cleveland in 4 at the 4 spot.
Yeah.
I've got Pittsburgh in the 3 spot. I've got Baltimore in the 2. I've got Cincinnati winning the division.
Whoa!
Cincinnati winning
wow!
Cincinnati to 1, Baltimore to 2, Pittsburgh to 3. So we'll log in. Then what we'll do at the end, last week I also picked Buffalo to win the East.
You did.
And so what we'll do is we'll compile these throughout the summer, and then at the end we will establish who we think is going to be the 7 playoff teams from each division, and then we'll go through and see who we can line up to make it to the Super Bowl. So so there's the first kind of now. But I do have Baltimore making the playoffs. So there you go. So
mic drop from David Smith, the NFL
we'll
guru.
See. You got to shoot your shot. You got to shoot your shot. It's 6:30 in the morning.
I know exactly. Exactly right. No question. We're never scared to shoot our shot here.
No. Nobody gets hurt in the making of these predictions. Nobody.
No, not at all. All right, brother. I know you have a really, really busy day. Thank you so much for
and by the way, congratulations to you, Rick, and your bride. Congrats to you and your bride, man. Don't worry about this thing at all. And so clearly you've got your priorities messed up by not having a show next week because you're going to be on some honeymoon. So we're going to have to work on your commitment to this.
Shouldn't I just be doing that every morning, right?
I feel
like I'm betraying everyone.
if you called in from your honeymoon to do this show, then I would check on you. I would check on you.
I know, right? Exactly.
I would check
Right.
on you. You better not be on here next week. So we'll see you in 2 weeks, and we'll go over to AFC South,
2 weeks.
and not before.
Yeah,
not before.
No,
right.
not before. We're gonna have we're gonna run best of shows next week, and I might re-air today's show next week. So yeah, we'll have best ofs running in the time slot. So at least
don't
there'll
worry
be
about
something
this
running.
thing.
So,
Yeah, man. But don't worry about this.
We'll be
have
good.
a great time,
We'll be
man.
good.
Congrats. Hello to the bride to be, and we'll see
I
you
will.
in 2 weeks.
I
brother.
will. All right, brother. Have a good day today. All right.
Thanks, buddy.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
you.
Take care. There you go. David Smith, the great David Smith. How good is that? Yeah, that's right, Brandon. That was a David Smith just picked the Bengals to win the North.
Oh my! Oh no! Oh no! That was out of nowhere.
Yeah, how about that? Well, you know, he was building up to it. He kept talking about the Bengals. And wow, that's big. Bills and Bengals so far. I wonder if that B trend is going to continue when he gets to the West. Somehow I don't think Broncos is going to be the first team. Yeah, DS is great. Show me. Go anywhere. Go to dreaded ESPN. Go to the NFL Network. Go to any of the people on X. Tell me anybody who breaks down the National Football League better than David Smith. Just do it. Show it. I want to see clips. I want evidence. You're not going to find any, so I'm not worried about it. Thanks, David Smith. He's in town actually this week. He's part of the BOV at RU, so they got a busy day. So appreciate him jumping on. But that's, it's fun for him. He uses it as his he's just kind of relaxed. He can kind of get his mind to the thing he loves the most, the NFL, and it shows. He's the best. You learn something every time you talk to Dave. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios. We learn how great they are at making your home more secure. Reach out for a free quote. Jason Green, 540-200-8294. Mark Hunley, by the way, he'll get you back straightened up just like this. You go down like this. You go see Mark. McClellan Chiropractic, sponsor of our chat room, 155 Walters Drive. Reach out to him today. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Tim Miller, Jonathan Sweet. You got the racetrack. You got the Sportsplex about to open. You got Pulaski River Turtles about to start their season. Man, there's a lot going on. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. That is Charles Lee, 553-2971. Make sure your air units are ready to rock and roll. BDST Fan Question of the Week brought to you by the attorney Ryan Pry, West Main Street in Radford. And since David and I just talked about Myles Garrett, the Rams have gotten 4 more votes on our professional door text line. The Browns falling further behind now, 35-13. We'll be back after this word from Hertz Rent-A-Car. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of yours truly and this program. I cannot recommend them enough. Professional Door Incorporated, commercial and residential garage doors. They're on the cusp of beginning year 39. And we're going to have some cool things to talk about year 39 for Travis Williams and Professional Door, sponsor of our text line. ReadySetFun.com, Bob Chris, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. It's a series of text messages, different types of things they can do to help you. They offer. Reach out to him today if your organization needs some quick money, your church, your school group, women's organization, men's organization, doesn't matter. Let them help you. Sundown Electric, one of the most reputable businesses in our area. You don't believe me? Just go to their site and look at every review is a 5-star. And you can tell they're real reviews. People who have used this amazing company, superior craftsmanship, costs as low as they can. Reach out to those folks. Thanks to the Smith brothers. NRV Super Bowl, we're going to have our bash there. Midnight Madness begins tomorrow, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. They turn the lights off, glow-in-the-dark bowling. You can get your food at special deals, your beverages. Yes, have some. NRV Super Bowl, 382-5525. Terry Stike's done a great job. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply has been the place for your home manufactured plumbing, windows, supplies, doors, installation, you name it, they do it. 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, 381-8011. Brandon says Pittsburgh over Baltimore in his scenario. Bengals can probably win the division. Well, we'll see. Zach Taylor's prove-it year. He's got to get this thing done now. I don't believe Joe Burrow goes through the season upright. He hasn't yet. I don't think that's going to change. Bob Black going to join us, by the way, coming up, the voice of the Richmond Spiders. Andy Bitter's in Vegas. If you're wondering where AB is, he's in Vegas. I want to say he's with McFarland. He's with AMAC. I might be wrong, but boy, you imagine those two in Vegas. Wow. It's like Jen out there with her entourage in Vegas. How's everybody going to Vegas but us? It's an interesting division. Again, only one team kept its coach. I don't think Zach Taylor's a bad coach. And the NFL, unlike any other league, when you lose your quarterback, it changes so much unless you just get very, very fortunate and some backup comes in and they're ready to rock and roll. You're so behind the eight ball. It's so hard to kind of get. Look at my Broncos. We found it out at the worst time, right? You have that dramatic win against the Bills. We find out that Bo Nix torn up his ankle. You put out Jarrett Stidham, and he can't do anything. And I know it was snowing, but I truly believe they'd have gotten to the Super Bowl with Bo back there. So when you lose your quarterback, you just don't have a shot. And the Bengals haven't been able to keep Joe Burrow healthy, but they haven't invested in the offensive line enough. It hasn't made sense. They made some bad, questionable decisions. They know that's what they have to shore up more than anything else, and they haven't done it. And it's strange to me that certain organizations have mental blocks toward what they really should be doing, what seems like common sense. Hey, Brandon, you're in Vegas. Everybody going to Vegas. Is that in Vegas, Brandon? The NACD? That's right, is it? Good Lord. I'll be on the coast of North Carolina at Emerald Island. That's where I'll be. I won't be at the NACDA. Everybody going to Vegas. Everybody going to Vegas. You can't see him, but Creed's over here chilling right here. Will we finally hear Careless Whisper tomorrow to send the newlyweds off in style? No, she hasn't reached out. No. She has not reached out to tell me she's ready for that performance. So I'm sorry. It's been like a 2-month tease. I get it. I'm starting to wonder, and I'll ask her tomorrow, do you really know how to play the saxophone? Was all this just made up? The convenient mouthpiece excuse has gone on for a long time, hasn't it? We'll ask her these questions tomorrow. Will Stewart, Mike Ashley's back, and Jen tomorrow on the program. I'm not sure, to be honest. At this point, I don't know. Getting quite a few comments on the text line about Nick Saban. Yeah, I thought it was a lot of good unintentional comedy. I'll talk to Bob about it a little bit. I just thought him up there pontificating about the ills of collegiate sports is so typical guy who's now ESPN shill. His reputation from going out of the coaching profession into what he's done after, not necessarily things you want to align side by side. How people want to act like Alabama wasn't working at an tremendous advantage before those advantages were shared by everyone. I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, people don't want to. People now just turn their minds into cult beliefs. There's no thinking outside of what you want to be true. And I guess that's human nature. I looked at some of the comments, and there's many people who were criticizing Saban yesterday, and rightfully so. He made some asinine comments. He made some comments that aren't part of anybody's reality. yet you don't comment on your former school giving a coach unnecessarily $91 million to extend him 7 years when he already had 3 to 4 years left. And he hasn't turned Alabama into a championship contending team. They're always going to be around the playoff because of their resources. But they decided, you know what, if we have a big money crunch, let's just go ahead and give $91 million to a coach a lot of the Alabama fans were turning against last year. Where were those comments from Nick Saban yesterday? Where were the comments about Kirby Smart being able to match whatever salary starts to get close to his, so he's ensured to be the highest paid football coach at $15 million a year, a state employee, $15 million to be the head coach of a football team? Where were the comments about how that's not really good for the university and their budget and all the money? Where was that? No, it was all about the players yesterday. It was all about the players. I know I'm making a lot of noise now in my water. That's okay. There we go. That was pretty good porn right there. That was bartender-esque. But it's rich coming from him was the whole point. Him talking about players getting paid when Bama did it in droves under the table while he was there. And to the people that want to say, well, where's the proof? You guys are making these accusations, and I don't know where the proof is. We're Alabama fans. We didn't do that. Everybody in Tuscaloosa knows who the Alabama Mafia is. Everybody. Guess who created it? The other guy who was considered the greatest college football coach of all time, Bear Bryant. Here's an idea. Read books. It's amazing how much reading can enhance your knowledge of topics instead of just responding on emotion or whims or being misled by the media and people that you want to follow because it fits your beliefs. Why don't you read a little bit about the way things really were and have been for years until we got into pay for play, until the O'Bannon case. And what Nick Saban and anybody else's misunderstanding is, this isn't about the players being paid. This is about people who were paid a lot of money to be in charge, to keep this thing organized, to keep this thing regulated, that completely didn't care. They just were worried about getting paid. They didn't want to get involved in anything. They just let it all happen. And the courts have recognized this, which is why that organization, the NCAA, which is led by sewage rats, all right, is going to lose every court case going forward. That's why they're not doing anything now. This is common sense. This isn't something that you need to have Nick Saban get up there and show up on everybody's X account yesterday, wearing his suit, acting like, wow, there's a guy who's really putting us in our place. Boy, he's telling us things we didn't know. Reading, it's fundamental. But really just no self-awareness from Saban yesterday. And then now I completely understand why he sits on the game day set. Never understood thought, well, why would he do that with those people, right? With that whole circus. Well, now I get it. Nothing he said was of any consequence. I watched most of it yesterday. Watched most of the highlights. I didn't watch it live. I went back and was there anything earth-shattering that he said that we didn't already know, that we haven't covered verbatim with our amazing panel of guests over the last several months? No. But was there just a complete, constant lack of self-awareness and honesty about where you had come from and what you had allowed to happen at your school? Yeah. People just want to believe what they want to believe. Their own perception is all that matters. They're not worried about, people don't want to be, I think the reason the media has gone the way it has in terms of not worrying about getting things factually correct, how that used to be, and it still should be. If you're going to be a journalist of any kind of integrity, it's about getting things right, having facts to back up what you're doing. I don't write an article for the Patriot before I go through and think. I get thoughts and I make notes, and I want to make sure I'm right. So I go back and I call up articles. I want to make sure that I've got all the things lined up as they happened. I think the media people that know they can just get clicks and make money, they understand that their clientele, they don't care about being told the truth anymore. The only truth they want to be told is what feeds their own beliefs. They don't care if it's true. They don't care what's really happening. They just want to be, okay, yeah, this is how I feel about something. I hate this. I like that. I hate this president. I like that president. So anything against the president I hate is true. Anything for the president I like is true. Alabama fans they're the ones that are commenting on some of these posts about, well, you have no proof about what are you talking about? We didn't do that. He got all those 5-star players. One year, Nick Saban had 15 5-star players. I saw someone post. How do you think that happened at one school? 15? Come on. So the failure is not in the system that has developed in college athletics. The failure is the fact that nobody at all regulated the system as we went along that would have prevented the O'Bannon case from ever happening. But in any event, the White Vic coming up. Joining us now on the program is this gentleman. Few people are more respected in his industry than Bob Black, the voice of the Richmond Spiders. What's up, brother? Good morning, Bob. How are you?
How we doing, Rick? Good to see you. Good to talk to you.
Good to see you.
Loving it.
Summertime, man, and things have changed for you a little bit, I know, right? You got stuff going on now.
Or not going on.
Not going on.
Not going on. It's more like it's a radio-free summer, Rick. That's the way I'm kind of positioning it. So, yeah, I've man, I got to be really clear on this because so many people think and probably wish that I had fully given it up and retired, but that's not the case. I'm trying not to use the R word here other than Rick. Hung up the mic for the Sports Huddle for the afternoon talk show that we do here in Richmond. 15 years of that was enough in my mind anyway. So giving that part up, but still did not give up my day gig. Still the voice of the Spiders.
No, hey, well, I did that too, right? I did that last, December 24 and took about 6 to 8 months off. So, but hopefully with things you've told me that might be cooking, though, you're going to be maybe coming up again here soon in a different type of atmosphere.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm keeping a watchful eye on you and how successful you are. I'm not sure I can follow in those footsteps. But I'm actually, Rick, I got to tell you, really enjoying kind of being a fan.
Absolutely.
You know, like I can watch the sports that I want to watch and not watch the sports that I don't have to watch so that I can talk about them. And I can also watch games just as a fan. Like I'm not taking any mental notes in the back of my head for things, you know, for bullet points to talk about the next morning, and can just kind of, enjoy whether it was, game one of the Stanley Cup Finals or last night's NBA game or a baseball or whatever. Just kind of watch it as a fan. I think I'll be raring and ready to go by late August when football starts, though, and get back on the air.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to ask you about, yesterday, Nick Saban, he's making the rounds, and I'm just kind of shaking my head. I mean, he got a lot of criticism on, response. And everybody wants to look at him as being the sound voice of college athletics and kind of forget his past and where he came from. I think it's fairly humorous that he thinks he's saying things that are profound. You and I have talked about this. We know what's been happening. What were some of your thoughts about that? And do you see any progress that's being made with all these conversations that are coming down from Congress and everything else, and people, the realizations at least there, smacking them in the face finally that this is unsustainable? But do you see anything that's actually positive developing with any of this?
Well, Yes and no. I mean, I like some of the tenets of the proposal, and you and I have talked about that. I do think we need a transfer limit. I do think we need spending floor and spending ceiling, at least conference wide. So I do think there are some points to this thing that I like. I just don't think they can ever get passed and accomplished. They can even get passed by Congress. They're still going to get thrown out in courts of law. How many times have we stated? The players win every time now because the NCAA dragged its feet through the mud for so many years and got us into this position. I think everybody's almost trying too hard at this point, Rick. Everybody, wants something to happen, and I think they're kind of just overstepping it at this point. But I do think there are some points of it that I do hope happen. I'm just not so sure you can stuff the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, you're right. The transfer thing will be big, and it'll be big for fans, because right now I take any recruiting news I hear with a grain of salt, because there's really a lack of commitment from any of these guys to come in until they get here, know they're going to get paid. Let's just say it the way it is. You talk to coaches more than I do. We know what's going on in our world of mid-major basketball. I hear the stories I hear, Bobby, and I'm sure it blows me away with what they're dealing with when they go just to recruit a kid to be a backup guard, whatever it might be. So it just seems like to me that the denial part needs to go away. You're right. And maybe at some point, somebody will do the right thing. I just don't know who that can be at this point. I really don't.
Right. I actually, of all of those that I hope, could pass and actually be put into legislation is the transfer. I do think that would really help. You make your pick out of high school. That's one. You transfer once. That's already two. You transfer a third time. That's three different schools you've already, made up your mind on, and something's gone amiss, whether it's money or whatever the case may be. I think at that point we got to slow them down and say, okay, you're going to that third school already, but we're going to make you be there at least 2 years. Now, I mean, we're gonna pay you that year that you're not even playing. Think about that. I mean, there's nothing so wrong with that. And you're gonna ingratiate yourself to your team at the very least for 2 years, and the money and resources and time the coaching staffs and administrations are spending on you, they're getting something for your return. Now, you're still going to have to pay them, Rick. I don't think that's ever going to change at this point. I think those astronomical numbers are here to stay because the players and those agents and the courts, they're not going to allow it to go back the other way again.
And the facts are, and you know this as well, the schools that have it, they don't care if it changes. They have the money. They know it may not be a long list, but there are 10 or 12 schools that are just like, you know what, we're going to be just fine. And that's why you hear them complaining the least, because, all right, we got the resources here. It gives us an advantage, just like the big league, big market, the Dodgers, if you will. They're the Dodgers, the Yankees of college sports right now, some of those programs.
Yeah. And I think there's a chance that could still happen where there's a breakaway of, and I can't imagine it just being those two conferences. I mean, to me, that's kind of boring. Is it really the Big Ten and the SEC, and they're just playing each other in all these sports and games? That I don't see, but I can see a top four, kind of breaking away from the rest of us. You know what, Rick? I'm fine with that. Give us the rest of it. We'll make it look a little bit like college athletics. It's never going to look like the way we knew it, but it'll look a little bit closer to what we remember as college athletics.
100%. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm thinking maybe 60 teams in the big breakaway, and then you can divide it into divisions. I've seen a lot of models that make a lot of sense. You could have 8 divisions within those 60, whatever it ends up being the number. Let them do their thing centered around football. And you're right. The rest of us, we can kind of reconvene around college athletics and make it kind of similar for fans, and that'll be the advantage I think that can be created. I really do.
Yeah, and at that case, actually, now that we're talking about it, I think some of those financial numbers could come down a little bit for the rest of us, and maybe make it a little bit more reasonable. Like I'm looking at Richmond, Rick, and I'm not telling you anything that's not kind of out there, but I mean, we're at probably, I don't know, 5 million, somewhere in that ballpark to pay our back. I never thought I'd see the day when something like that would happen at a small private school like Richmond, which basketball is very important to Richmond, don't get me wrong, but so is education, academics, culture, campus, all of that. And yes, does Richmond have that kind of money? Yeah, I mean, we do. But, why do you want to do that? And I do think if you could break away that top 60 that you talk about, and then everybody else, maybe some of those numbers would even come down and be a little bit more reasonable.
Well, you make a great point. I've asked this a lot. To what end? Because you just said it, right? Yes, basketball is very important in Richmond. It's a terrific traditional sport. It's important at Radford. It's important. But to what end to spend all this money to compete? If you win the title in your conference, that's great. You might get an automatic berth in the NCAA. You're going to probably win a game, maybe if you're fortunate. But to what end now is it going to be to motivate people who want to continue to donate? Are you just going to keep counting on and getting sponsors to get you to that level? Because you're not – I don't know. That's what I'm asking fans who have donated. To what end will you continue to do this? How does it continue to make sense?
And that's a great point that you made earlier, that the top, 4 conferences, 60 teams, I think they have enough resources and enough donors that they're going to be able to continue to do this. I've been amazed by some of the numbers I've seen of donations to universities. And I'll tell you the one that I look at all the time, has nothing really to do with football or basketball. Matt Josephs and I, when we were co-hosting the Sports Auto, we used to kid about this all the time. University of Virginia, Rick, they get more major donations to Olympic sports than the rest of us are getting to our basketball or football programs.
Right.
I mean, I feel like every credit to UVA, but I feel like every time I'm looking up, they're getting a donation for their golf program, their tennis program, that all of those, which is great because we need to keep them going, right? But they have the resources and the donors, apparently, at least in the interim, that will continue to sustain this, and certainly for football and basketball, they will. How long? I don't know. But if those 460 teams move away, I think the rest of us, maybe we can manage this thing. I don't know if that's a pipe dream or not.
Well, you mentioned UVA. It's interesting. I was talking to David Till about it yesterday, and they kind of go under the radar. We don't hear a lot about what Tony Elliott's got, but right. And I think you're right. I think it's taken care of so tightly internally because, like you said, we know the money. They're legendary, aren't they? With the kind of donations they get to these other programs. So you think about how that's being fed. I can only imagine what they might be getting that we don't hear about for football and basketball, men's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, Rick, we say it all. This is a bad business model, right? Like somebody,
it is.
Somebody said to me, like, no businessman in their right mind would operate under this business model. And I stopped them and said, no bad businessman would operate under this bad business model. And again, like I said, a school like Richmond, and I'll speak to, there's money there. But at the end of the day, is that where you really want to be pouring all this money into? It's more even a philosophical thing with some of us. And for now, the answer is yes. We want to compete in the Atlantic 10. To your point, we want to compete for championships. We want to get to NCAA tournaments. So for the moment, the answer is yes. But to what end is the eventual question.
Right. And to keep convincing the university side, I mean, how does it benefit their profile to recruit more kids to come in, which is more money coming in as students? Can you handle certain enrollment? I know athletics is kind of the front porch to a lot of schools. Virginia Tech football certainly has been used in the past when Coach Beamer was here, and they're doing it again now with the money and the big donations about to be dropped. But it is important. But you're right. That it comes down, I guess, to every individual school at this point, right? To have to make that decision.
It does. And again, I just think that's the philosophy of this thing. And for now, we want to do it. And it was obvious this year. Look, we kept our best player. So we've obviously paid him, good amount of money. We've brought in 6 transfers, and several of them are pretty highly rated guys. We had to pay them. We added an assistant coach to the staff, had to pay him. So for the time being, like we pardon the expression, we bought in on this. We literally and figuratively bought in on the model that we're using right now. I don't know how much longer you can do it like that. I really don't.
Do they try to offset that a little bit? Have you heard about like ticket costs and things like that? Or what are they trying to create? What are you guys trying to? I'm always curious because I know what we do at Radford. It's very isolated, right, for every school at our levels and so forth. Of what you have to do to try to create as much revenue that makes sense amongst your fan base and amongst your external, dependencies.
Yeah, no, great point. No, I have not heard anything, at least for this year, as far as season tickets or seat licenses. I don't think we're in that landscape to be doing that at this point. I think donations are good. I think our Spider Club completed its year and beat its goal. We added another position, which is an assistant athletic director, and all he's responsible for is development of the 2 basketball programs. And we both know what the word development means there, Rick. It means find more money for the basketball programs, right? Nice title, but go get us some more money. And I think so far in the short term, that's working, but I just don't think in the long term it's totally sustainable. And I do think things like the transfer rule will help, because that's the biggest frustration I hear, at least from our fans, and maybe you do from Bradford fans as well, is they never get to know these guys or gals anymore because they're here a year or two and they're gone. Like if we have a player here for 2 years, we think that's a win now. Like,
right.
You know what that screams of junior college is what that screams of. But if we can keep a guy or gal for 2 years, our fan base can at least get to know them a little bit, and then maybe they're more inclined to put their money out there as well. So I think that, to me, that's the one that I think can get past, that maybe helps move the pendulum a little bit. We'll see down the road. Something's got to give, right?
Well, and you hit it right on the head, and that's what we get. There aren't really any Highlanders. These are guys, they're here, but are they really part of our culture? Are they just coming by to get paid? Are they just coming by to stop by for a year? And just like, are there any Spiders going forward? Are there any, George Mason Patriots really? I mean, where are we going? Because it does mean a lot to the fan base to have guys that mean something to the community, that care more about, the school than maybe they're going to be led to now with the current environment. But it is a major problem. We hear it all the time. We do.
And here's the other perspective, and I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but I've beaten the drum on this example that I threw out there on our show when I had it. I've had fans come up to me at before basketball games, and you say, you know what the other problem is? We don't know who to hate on the other team anymore. Like, we don't know who's the villain on George Mason or James Madison, or because they're only there a year, and we're like, wait a minute, that guy was at School X last year, but we didn't like him. So they don't even know on the other teams, like, who should we root against, let alone who should we root for. So I do think that would be same thing. That would be the one I would start with. I think you might be able to get some legislation passed on that, where you could win some court cases, keep some of these guys at their schools, and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a great point, because if you're going to have a hero, you need a villain. And that's what makes sports, has made it so great. If the old Redskins didn't have the Cowboys, we may have never seen the league develop like it did, right? NFL.
Yeah.
So, Well, along those lines, I know you follow the Washington franchise very carefully in the NFL. We talk a lot of NFL. What are you thinking? I mean, let me ask you about Jayden Daniels. I mean, is this a guy who I love as a player? I think he's a leader. He's got all the stuff. Does he have the body, the physical stuff to take this so he can maybe develop into the player that I still think he can be for that organization?
Yeah, I think this is a critical year for him. Obviously, it is for the franchise as well. Dan Quinn, I think, is starting to settle into a hot seat a little bit, that they start to show some consistent success. Got a new young offensive coordinator. But I do think for Daniels, it all revolves around him. And I think this is a critical year for him on a couple of fronts, Rick. I think staying healthy is number one, to your point. We know that, he will get out there, he'll scramble, he'll take some hits, he'll pop up. But, if he doesn't pop up, now what do we do? So I think that's part one. And then part two, look, there's some really good defensive coordinators in the National Football League. They've got a lot of tape on him now. Probably not as much as they'd like because he was hurt and out. But I do think they've got some game plans for him. So I'm fascinated to see how Washington's offense operates against some of these teams with good defensive coordinators, the NFC East teams that see them twice a year, starting to build up a familiarity with how to play him. The best thing I ever heard about him, it was one of the NFC East defensive coordinators, and I don't remember if it was, Philly or the Giants or Dallas, that said, we need to keep him a quarterback and not an athlete. When he turns into an athlete, he becomes pretty dangerous and pretty good. If we can keep him as a quarterback, and I think you know where I'm going with that. He can't, show off that athleticism as much, then I think we got a chance to contain him. So I think it's a huge year for him, and obviously for Washington as well.
And that division is going to be very interesting with John Harbaugh and what he's trying to turn the Giants around. And the Cowboys are always just kind of a big put a question mark above it. And then the Eagles are the team I think everybody's still chasing. So it's a division that's not gotten any easier with the addition of John Harbaugh, is it?
Yeah, and I'm excited about that. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan. I think, I don't know, you can see it behind me. Got some Eagles stuff back there. So I'm an Eagles fan, and we just went through the whole A.J. Brown thing, that whole soap opera drama, got rid of him. I think Philly becomes addition by subtraction. At least I'm hoping, that distraction is gone in Philly. But I think the NFC East is significantly better this year, which is great, right? We all want, that's a division that when that division is good, football is better, I think. And look, I'm by no means a fan of those other three teams, but I do think the division is better this year. And I think that's good for football. So I think it's going to be fun to watch. And, I would like to say there's a clear-cut favorite in Philly, but I'm not so sure this time around.
Well, I got to ask you, Bob, before we let you go, what's your all-time Eagles? What's your favorite Eagles green over the many years you've been a fan? I know what mine.
Everybody loves the Kelly green, but I actually like the midnight green better. I'm a little bit, maybe I'm old school, but I like the midnight green a little bit better. I like the old-fashioned wings on the helmet from the Eagle that they've had. Yeah, I think I got the helmet up there actually. So I do like that, but the Kelly green has been wildly popular in Philly, and I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more a midnight green guy.
I like the whole Wilbert Montgomery era Howard Carmichael unis. I love those. Yeah. I thought those are the ones I kind of grew up with. So I'm like, that's what I loved. I love
those are good. You're good call. Good
call. Those are my favorite ones. Well, man, listen, thanks for stopping by. So we got to do this more often now that you have a little bit more time, man.
Good stuff. I'll be glad to come on. This is easy doing it this way. What you're doing is a lot harder. So I'm really impressed by what you're doing, and it's not coming anytime in my near future. I got to be honest. I'm kind of enjoying the summertime relaxation a little bit. Good. I mean, still doing some University of Richmond work on a relatively daily basis at this point, but certainly not the grind that it's been in the past.
Well, I'm very happy for you, my friend. I know that. I know the people down in your area that listen, I know they're not happy that you're not on in the afternoons. But
I don't know about that, Rick. I don't know.
Well, enjoy your time, brother. Appreciate it. And we'll talk here again soon, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate
it. Love catching up with you, Rick. Keep it going, man.
All right, man. I'll try. I'll do my best. See you, brother. Take care, man.
Yeah.
There you go. Bob Black, the voice of the Richmond Spiders. Great guy, great broadcaster. Good for him, man. I'm very glad he's able to make a choice to do that. 15 years is a long time. I mean, that's kind of what happened, It was 15 years for me in December of 2024. 15 is about it. Like John Madden talked about the 10-year rule, right? You had to place 10 years. Maybe radio show hosts get to 15 years. And so then I brought it back here, which is kind of different but the same, all at the same time. Thanks to Bob. His insight, he's always got great insight, man. He's got the pulse of it. But he's right. One of the biggest things I hear is, in places like Radford and Richmond, George Mason, VCU, all these places, being a part of that university culture is even more important when athletes come through. Then maybe it even is that, Virginia Tech's going to experience this now going forward. Maybe they have the finances that are coming down the pike with the new setup. The new AD will be hired very, very soon. That they'll be able to keep guys for 2 years. Who knows? Maybe you can keep them 3. I don't know. I don't know what'll settle in as the norm. But for us, it was different last year. You knew those guys were there for different reasons. You knew that they weren't going to be there. And I had a lot of people take the time to come up to me and just say, this doesn't feel the same. And it didn't. It didn't. But it's the way it is everywhere. It's not unique to Radford. That's where we are today. It's the one byproduct of this madness that is not considered because we're not the movers and shakers in the industry. Nobody's really concerned from the big conferences about mid-majors, the Radfords, the Richmonds. They're not. That's why the breakaway is going to happen. we know we have really good leaders throughout mid-major sports. When you talk about the conferences getting together and having their meetings, we all have a common goal. And when that common goal is the word survival, you can really be humbled very quickly. And I always talk about how self-awareness is so absent in almost every aspect of everything we see and hear about in the news cycle. That's not the case for mid-major sports. We are very self-aware of our status, where we stand, what our reality is to try to survive in this new culture. We don't have people walking around denying that athletes are going to be paid. We're not in denial about the landscape and where it all is right now. But what we do try to do is say, okay, this is what's happening. What can we do? How can we create anything at all to exist where we can put together a competitive basketball team, a competitive baseball program? That does mean a little more, because for us, winning our conference championship, making an appearance in the big tournament creates revenue, not just for us, but for the whole league. So our goals are a little more defined, all right? For the most part, other than when Coastal Carolina wins a baseball national championship under Gilly, who just got in the Hall of Fame, by the way. Congratulations, Coach Gilmore. Great, great guy. When you saw Joe Rakuya and Gilly get together and have conversations, it was some of the best times ever. Any event, we know that our goal is to win. We win as soon as we get that NCAA berth. Whatever happens after that is gravy. When we beat LIU Brooklyn and Dayton and Radford basketball, and we were all on that chartered plane to Pittsburgh in the wee hours of the morning to go play the number one team in the nation, Villanova, we had already won our NCAA tournament because we got the next level of payout. So there is an understanding. There is a unity. Right? Because there has to be, because it's about survival. Now, these other schools, and Saban going around running his mouth yesterday, they're talking about survival at a level that the rest of us just simply don't live in or understand. I'm not really concerned. I got to be honest. It falls on deaf ears to me when I hear about them trying to sit around and say, hey, we can't survive. We're giving out $40, $50 million rosters. Radford couldn't do that in 20 years. Right? So for me, I don't have a lot of sympathy toward the schools that are going to break away, that are getting the advantages that Virginia Tech's now creating for itself. They will find a way to be okay. And I am now fully of the belief at that level that the bottom is not going to fall out until the money runs out at the top levels, until they look around and realize that the avenue and resources that continue to supply enough money to make it make sense is no longer balancing. And then when that happens, then there'll be action, and it'll have to come from after the breakaway, when these things are developed, and depending on how the TV contracts look. I mean, the networks only have so much money. There's only so many streaming services and so much advertising you can sell. And so many times you can keep going back to your donor base. It just becomes a repetitive cycle. It's a circle, a never-ending circle. People always talk about having these circular conversations that never close. There's no ending. Well, that's kind of what this has become. There's no ending to this. It's great. Tech's getting ready to get a massive donation. The rumors are flying about how much it could be, right, after this new creation of Hokie Ventures and all this. New AD coming in, new president. new rector, new setup, new football coach. Right now, it's going to put them on, hey, a fast track to compete and be right there in the middle of all this. Until how long? When it's not anymore? A year? 2 years? Probably not even 2 years, a year. Oh, by the way, this was awesome. Thank you. It's not enough. We've already heard it once. So it's a circular pattern. There's no close. And that's what's going to eventually catch up to them, even after the breakaway. There's a reason that 3 out of the 4 power leagues are all in on the 2014 playoffs. It's all about revenue creation. That's the only thing they're looking at. They don't care about just stop with all this tradition of college football and damaging the regular season and the structure of. Let's stop. Just stop with the pretend things that don't matter anymore. They don't matter. They don't matter to the people that could make it change, that it should matter to the most. So if it doesn't matter to them as fans, you just have to lament it, bow your take your cap off and give it a moment of silence because it's gone. The traditional part of all sports is basically gone. It happened in baseball with interleague play. It's happened with the expansion of playoffs, the wild card in the NFL, and Major League Baseball again, and now it's happened with collegiate sports transition into full-time professional sports. And the SEC, who has believed it has operated at a big financial gain over all the others for all these years, there's a reason they're the last ones to hold out for the 2014 playoff. They want to make sure they still don't have an avenue toward all the resources and advantages they've had over the rest. The Big Ten's passed them. I don't think that realization really came into light until they just had their SEC meetings last week. I think now some of the ADs and the presidents, more than half that they reported, are saying that they now understand why there has to be a 2014 playoff. And eventually you're going to see Sankey step up to the microphone and he's going to say, we now are on board here. We have unity. We wanted to be the last ones because we wanted to stay prominent. So it is what it is. It is what it is. And nothing Nick Saban said yesterday, I don't think anything resonated. I mean, it was like preaching to a choir that's been singing for several months and a couple years now, knowing how this thing was going to go. And I don't know why he was the guy there in Congress. I don't know, why they felt like that was going to accomplish anything. It helped ESPN give them more things to talk about when he's on set at game day, I guess. But there was nothing revolutionary. And the real revolution continues because costs just keep going up. And the money will run out. And that then will get people joining together to have enough. They're going to take away the you have no right to sit here and sanction us mindset to we have no choice but to be sanctioned now. So let's just figure out how we're going to do that going forward. But great stuff from Bob Black. Great stuff from Bob. It's always great stuff when this gentleman joins us. He is the quintessential voice for Virginia Tech football, the man who has dedicated his life to helping his fellow humans, Dwight Vick. What's up, DV?
What's going on? How you doing, man?
Doing great, man. You look great in your red Dodgers hat. Look at you.
Yeah. You know, I got the hats, man. You know,
I know you do. The
hats.
How you been, man? What's going on? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I heard you talking about Saban, man. I've been so irritated. You know, I wish there was a different person to address it, because I retweeted a video or reposted a video, a handful of videos of people, guys like yourself in the business, radio, YouTube shows, podcasters. Some of them were SEC guys just talking about the hypocrisy of Nick Saban. About here's a guy that tampered with players, talked about it knowingly when he coached. Guy that lied to the Miami Dolphins, not one, not two, but 3 times, and then took the job 2 weeks later at LSU. Left LSU, left Toledo, lied to the Giants, I believe. He talks about this, that, whatever, where, again, I'm not going to get into speculation on allegations or alleged things, but I do know Bama capitalized from the fact that they could monopolize all the talent. And I just wonder what's his motivation when, even after being done with college football, you're able to get on a great show like Game Day and still get paid to talk about athletes in college football and college sports. Why are you now the guy talking about integrity and arms race and putting a cap on this? If it was, and I don't think he's alive anymore, but if it was Tom Osborne from Nebraska, the great legendary coach, if it was someone like Frank Beamer or someone like that, I just think it would have more of a leg to stand on.
100%.
I don't hate Nick Saban. I don't have a problem. I do think you could make an argument he's the greatest college football coach of all time, but I just feel like all the stuff that went on at your program outside of winning, I just feel like it just almost seems hypocritical you getting on a platform like that yesterday and this week and testifying to Congress about we got to do something when competitive balance was never your mindset when you were dominating. Why competitive balance? You
right?
I just Alabama. Anyway, so that I just had to get that out. I was just so like, anyway, I apologize. My allergies and my voice is bothering me.
No, you sound great. You sound great. No, I felt the same way, man. It just bugged me. I was sitting there just like, wow, he has no concept of how bad he's sounding right now. And he has no, I don't know what reality he's steeped in, but you're exactly right. He accepted every innate advantage at Alabama while he was there. He knew he took the Alabama job because he knew how they handled their business. We'll just say it that way with recruits at Alabama. Come on.
That's why I think when you talk about arms race and sustainability and competitive balance, I'm like, competitive balance, you Alabama in the old era, the BCS era, did not win their division, did not win the SEC title, and yet played LSU for a national championship. We forget those things because we, as college football observers and media guys and fans, we always move forward. I always feel like we can learn a lot from a historical perspective on the game we love or appreciate or we cover. And we forget that Alabama constantly got the benefit of the doubt, and he strong-armed media. He talked to media any old kind of way. And when I say lie, I'm not speaking on jealousy or envy of Alabama. I'm talking about he lied constantly about everything. He tampered with players. Yeah. But you're talking about integrity? Come on, stop it.
I know.
I know about the guys you talked to during the dead period where you FaceTime the trainer or you FaceTime the parent so you could get in that gray area of, well, I wasn't talking to the athlete. I know about these things. And it's just it's what these guys do. Does he make some points about a salary cap and contractual obligations? Yeah, I mean, maybe one day it'll happen, but
yeah.
I don't think he should be the guy saying it.
No, and he sure didn't mention the money that's going out to these coaches, did he? He didn't have any problem with the coaches continuing to see their salaries go to these unbelievable. I mean, his old school, right, just gave Kalen DeBoer $91 million just because why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, my thing is when I saw the Sons of Saturday talk about this donation, and then I saw it trending on Twitter about Virginia Tech, I know a handful of donors, you know, from the show I had with Mike for 3 years. I met quite a few through Mike and doing different things. I met some donors. I know Mihil real well. That's my guy. And I always look at some of these men and women. I'm like, man, it must be nice to have 50 million.
I know.
Just to, I right now I'm waiting on my direct deposit for Victory Life so I can pay some of these bills. I'm waiting on my money. I gotta
exactly.
I gotta pay for these bills. I got Isaiah just moved into Northwestern State, and you know, Sydney just graduated college. I'm getting a ceiling fan put in the guest room. That's costing me money. And I'm balancing all these finances, and then I look on Twitter, I look at my phone, I'm like, alleged 75 million. I mean, we don't know the actual amount, but I'm like, where they do that at? That's crazy.
How do you just have that? Is that sock money? What are we doing here?
You know, but it's the life we've always lived in, the haves and the have not. I mean, it's starting to look like, though, for the first time since the new era began of college sports, Virginia Tech football, more so than basketball, wrestling, and everything else, is looking like they're about to be on the right side of history.
Yeah.
The last time they were on the right side of history is in 2003, when they left the Big East along with Miami and Boston College and joined the ACC. A conference many longtime Tech fans will always say they should have been in anyway, even though if you look at the old Big East regime, you know, I've been posting some videos. The Big East, the old Big East was really, really tough, and it was a great football conference. And it was great. They did the 30 for 30 on that, the Big East, the basketball, how it evolved. In a lot of ways, though, the football, adding football, kind of ruined the old Big East when you had John Thompson and all those guys coaching in the old Big East, and they added football. And then now, I don't even know what the Big East football conference looks like. You know?
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It's got all sorts of teams in there.
Yeah. So having Franklin there, he gives Virginia Tech a lot of cachet. He gives them credibility. He's recruiting at an all-time rate. It's great. It's great to see. I love the 4 stars. I love that we're in the top 10 right now. We'll probably, when it's all said and done, maybe be a top 15, top 12, top 11. You know, that is amazing. And hopefully, fingers crossed, all these players stick. But I'm old now. I'm getting old. And what I mean is, I've been around long enough to know that this is great. You need depth, you need talent. But I've also seen where, not just at Virginia Tech, but UVA, Maryland, Boston College, Ohio State, Miami, I've seen it where many of these kids, and I say many, that are highly touted, by their second year in college, some will flame out, some will go somewhere else. Some of them won't pan out regarding the talent because some of them have never been coached at this level. Yep. Some of them have been playing out of position. Some of them have been dominating a weak high school league. I've seen it. I used to write and work for Rivals and 247.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I've seen it where I'm like, oh, wow, this is a great get. And then, I mean, I posted the other day on the Instagram page I shared with my cousin Mike, the old Ohio State win and how Ohio State, we went to the shoe and beat them. And I was looking at Marshawn Williams. I'm like, oh, man, he was an animal for us the first year. He's from Phoebus High School. He played it in my high school for 3 years, and he transferred to Phoebus. Him and Shaw McKenzie. Shaw McKenzie was that great running back, really highly touted 4-star running back that had multiple knee injuries, I believe. And him and Marshawn never really panned out after that. Like, they, unfortunately, it wasn't because they weren't good. It was just the knee injuries. So you pray all these guys stay healthy, whether they stay at Tech or not. But, you know, I'm excited for the perception, the immediate attention.
That's it, yeah.
That's great for branding. It's exciting that Franklin comes in and does this. It's just that, you know, come August, we got to talk about you got to beat Maryland and you got to win games. You got to win games. You got to win games because vibes will get you beat.
100%, 100%. And I agree on every point. I get a little pushback here because people say you don't talk about this recruiting enough. And I take the same mindset. Look, it's great for perception. And we already knew James Franklin was a good recruiter. Now he's got money. It makes sense. And it's a great vibe, but I want to see what it looks like in 2 years. How much of this class everybody's going to be talking to? They're not going to be here for another year and a half. So let's just see, are they still going to stay committed? Do they have good final seasons in high school? What will the roster look like when they get here? Will they even need those guys as much anymore? I don't know, but I'm looking at the 26 team. That's the only thing I'm looking at going. And I think that in the landscape of college sports right now, I'm not going to apologize for that because I think that's all we have. And I think he's done a really good job. The talent level on this team looks like it's better. I'm just focused on this team. I'm not worried about what recruits may do 2 or 3 years down the road. I'm just not.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm excited that, we're being talked about in the off season for all the right reasons. I like the little YouTube show they have. I like how Corey Moore and my cousin and the great Cornell Brown and Ike Charlton, the Norfolk State staff, was in town for the spring and talked to the players, and he highlighted the legacy of those guys, Franklin Ebby. And I also love the fact that, we're getting the money and resources to build a roster that's worth a conference championship and a playoff bid.
Sure.
But at the same time, my son, before he left, it was one of those nights there really wasn't anything on. I kind of watched all the shows on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon that I was going to watch. So I put on some of your show. I had it on the TV, and then I had, like I said, Sons of Saturday came on and some other shows. And then, a lot of talk about recruiting and this, that, whatever. My son, who, even though he's not a Hokie, he grew up, my 3 children, Hokies because of my wife and I being Hokies.
Sure.
So he's still a diehard Virginia Tech football fan. He was like, hey, man, we got to win, bro. All this talk. That's what he said. And it's so funny because he sounds like me. I mean, I'm in the group chat with my guys, Chris and not Big Dog. That's you. The Boundary Corner podcast group.
Yeah.
Those are my guys. And they always joke me, Vic, you got to at least say you feel good about this, right? You got to feel. I'm like, yeah, I love it. This is great. We got some linemen. I love it. I want to win now. I am so tired of, we haven't even been mid. Mid is like your middle. We have been trash. We have been bad. Right. We have been a bad program. I'm talking about when you become a bad program, when you're on the TV and the best thing about your program is the entrance, and you're playing on a channel right above Snapchat. You're not relevant. You are a bad program. You know how you're a bad program? When you are the only person that cares about that game. No one else in America cares about you and NC State. Nobody cares about you and SMU because they know you're going to lose. So right. Nobody, you, and again, people like, Vic, you're the Virginia Tech ambassador. How can you talk bad? I'm not talking bad about my program.
You're talking bad? No, you're not.
I'm talking reality. I'm talking about, right. I know these 2 corners are going to get beat on 3rd and 25. I know that we're going to fumble the ball in the red zone. I know that on 3rd and 1, we're going to false start. I know we're going to call a timeout and come back in the same formation before the timeout. So don't talk to me like I'm hard on these guys.
I know.
In my 5-year career at Tech, I had 1 false start. So don't tell me I can't speak on it. I know. This is all I'm saying. Where I see 4 or 5 false starts every weekend. But the O-line has potential. What are you talking about?
I know.
Potential. That's because the one guy getting hurt on the O-line and throwing the whole O-line shows you how bad we are. So when Franklin said to you at that thing you did last Thursday, when he says to you, we still have work to do, that makes me feel good because one thing I know about Franklin is he understands. I guarantee you he won't say it like I'm saying it, but he said it when he got there.
No question.
He knows what I know. He knows more than I know. So he said, yeah, he knows it. He sees it.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And you critique it and you're honest about it because you love it. You care about it that much. And I hate that type of mindset. Well, you can't criticize your team. You're not a fan. No, you're not a fan because you're just going around going, oh, yay, it's all so great. I don't care if we were 3-9. Boy, they really tried hard. No, get out of here with that, right?
I think that reminds me, and again, on this great Thursday morning, blessings to everybody watching and listening. Absolutely. I'm not trying to troll the Cowboys, but I have a lot of friends that are Dallas Cowboy fans, and every year as the sun shines and sets, as we get into the fall, there will be numerous Cowboy fans on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and call into these great shows like you have and talk about how the Cowboys are going to be in the playoffs and they're going to win. That is what I did not want Virginia Tech fans to be. I didn't want us to be that delusional. And sometimes that kind of delusion is what makes you a fan, because you see all the good. You refuse to see how you have been underachieving with overpaid talent for years. And I can't relate to it. I do not have – my favorite player is my son. After that is Jason Tatum. I don't, once he leaves the Celtics, I'm leaving with him. I love players. I like Jalen Hurts. I like Dak Prescott. I like certain players, and that gives me peace of mind. And if you know me, if you say, well, why do you like these players? It's the same reason why I like a great artist, a great singer, a great actor, because I know what I'm going to get when I watch them play. Whether I pay for them in person to see them play or I watch on my app, my phone, or my iPad or my television, I feel like I'm getting 2-3 hours of what they're paid to do, and they care about it as much as I care to watch them.
Right.
And I think that's what gets lost. I cannot be that delusional. I cannot be that loyal. When I was a kid, I was a diehard Redskins fan, but I knew Art Monk, Ricky Sanders, the Posse, Joe Gibbs, Russ Grimm, that offensive line, they were going to play. I knew Darryl Green was going to play on a sprained knee. I knew Gary Clark was going to catch a big pass. I knew Joe Gibbs and his staff had them ready to play. Yeah. And that's not nostalgia. It's just the fact that I knew for those 3 to 4 hours on my Sunday or whatever night it was, I was going to watch. Even if they lost, I felt like they cared.
Right.
You see guys now and women players, and I understand my son is an athlete. Branding is important. One thing I know about my son, he's old school where it still matters to him win or lose. Like, he's not going to be happy. He hated last year regarding them being an 8 seed out of 12 teams. He hated the fact that he didn't win 2 state championships going back to back. That still bothers him to this day. He keeps receipts. So I need guys like that in Blacksburg. Yeah. I need guys like that who are just not happy to get that, oh, I just got my direct deposit. You know.
Right.
I need that. I think I speak, honestly, Rick, I think I speak for a lot of Tech fans when I say that.
I agree. Yeah. How do you develop that in this era of pay? How do you get those, if you will, those dogs back that can be those players and get paid and still bring that to the table? And I think that's kind of what James Franklin was mentioning, what he's looking for as he structures not only this first roster, but rosters, down the road.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm looking to see. And that's why you always see me posting and speaking on your show about coaching, because you can get a dog and you can get a kid you think is a dog on the field, but he's really a goldfish.
Yeah, that's right.
What I'm saying? Or you got, you went to the store, you went to the high school to get a player, but you ended up getting a Mogwai. You didn't get a Gremlin. You got a Mogwai. You got Gizmo in the basket with him singing in the basket. We didn't even get any real Gremlins. I want some Wreck-It Ralphs. I want some Gremlins where after midnight they eat and they tear the whole city up.
There you go. Right.
And I know that sounds crazy. I'm not asking kids to tear up Christiansburg and Floyd County and Blacksburg. I don't mean that. Respect the community. I'm talking about, for those that know sports, know what I mean. We're talking about on Saturday and Thursday nights and whatever day they play on now. I feel like they play every day. Whatever day they play it on, when we go to Cal, we walk in and we beat the brakes off Cal. We beat Cal. Yeah, we beat Cal in overtime. That was a great win. But when people talk about dogs, I'm not trying to go back to 95, 96, 97 or whatever. I'm just saying, as far as like I want us to be able to not give up a game at home to Wake Forest, where we make the plays. I think that's the thing where you can be at a school for 2 years or 3 years and leave, but I just want them when they're there to take pride in winning and do it in a Virginia Tech uniform. And I think that starts with coaching. When someone says, how do you get that? Your culture cultivates that. That's why I said to you a handful of months ago on your great platform, I said, hey, Franklin has won everywhere. He has to win at Tech. Everything he did before matters, but it has to matter more here. And also in that same segment said that none of these kids at Tech right now have ever won anything in college. They haven't. I got 3 conference championships in my ring box in my dresser.
Right.
I don't play anymore. I'm an OG. I'm an unk. So it doesn't matter what I do anymore. But I do know what it takes to win. And, it's not just running stadium steps and doing push jerks and push presses and squats and screaming and throwing the weight down. It does start in the weight room, though. It does start with condition. It does start with showing up on time at practice. Those things matter. And from what I hear, when I see, man, since Franklin's gotten there, that's happening. So the next step is to identify your quarterback, your O-line, and your D-line have to be strong and have to set the tone, and everybody's got to have buy-in. And right. that's essential.
Question for you, since you've been talking about the NBA, Wayne asked, who's the best NBA player or players at the top of your list of all time?
Oh, don't do that to me, Wayne. I don't. Those questions are hard, man. I don't know. I mean, no. When I tell you, Wayne, I'm a fan. I really am a fan of players. Basketball is my favorite sport, actually.
That's what. Yeah, you've told. Yeah,
yeah. Basketball is my favorite sport. I mean, it can change. I mean, you got to look at Jordan, of course, Michael Jordan, Shaq. I don't know if you're talking about my favorite or the best of all time. Those things are so fluid, man, because my dad growing up, man, my dad's in the 70s, and he always talked about Earl the Pearl and other guys he saw play. I mean, it's all those lists are tough to do, Wayne. I'll just say, you got Jordan, Shaq, LeBron. I guess it has to be. I mean, LeBron has been amazing, the longevity and skill and just all the things he's done. I would like to hear Keon break it down. Your guy that comes on, he's the basketball. I'm a basketball guy. I have an AAU organization. I've coached basketball for several years. But it's tough because I'll get off this segment and be mad I didn't mention somebody. So I'm going to leave. I mean, because there's Larry Bird. People talking about Larry Bird couldn't have played today. But, man, Larry Bird was a savage.
Oh, my gosh. He would excel even more today.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Akeem Olajuwon and how he revolutionized the center position. I mean, if he played today when you can't touch and his post moves as well as his ability.
Lord.
There's so many guys I love watch play. I love the new era. Steph Curry is absolutely amazing. I mean, again, when I talk about Tech being on the right side of history, we dropped the ball not once with him, but twice, even with his younger brother. So I feel like one reason why Tech has never been able to get over the hump in football is we got to get on the right side of history, which is right now, I think, with the donations, with that conference realignment on the horizon, and also the kind of players we're starting to get, the culture we're rebuilding. And when Franklin said he wants us to be big time, and that's what he's talking about, like even the facilities being big time and not being stuck, And part of that was some of the guys in Merriman were stuck in my era. They never evolved. And that kind of goes back to Wayne's question. I think greatness is when you watch a player and you say, could he or she play in any era? And I think that's what I look at. Like Walter Payton could play at any era.
No question.
I mean, that's how I look at it. Basketball is one of those sports. It's basketball. The rules do dictate kind of like what they can and cannot do to some degree, but I definitely think a guy like Jordan obviously can play in any area, but LeBron is great too. I think LeBron hurt his image with some of the old school guys because the flopping and the announcement and some of the stuff that the game had never seen before as far as branding and I think people get annoyed by that. I'm not a fan of what the OKC Thunder do. I tell you that. I can't stand all the flopping and falling.
Oh, it's terrible.
I hate that, man. Like, play ball. But that's an answer you can ask me, a question you can ask me over time every 2-3 months. My list will somewhat change. Because you forget about a guy like Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan won He won 5 championships. He had a great career at Wake Forest. And then he just showed up every day, man. He was amazing. You know, some people say he was born to watch. I like winning. You know, it is what it is. You know, winning is boring. Sign me up. I'm gonna be bored all the time. But those questions are tough. I don't know, man. I gotta evolve my list, or at least look at it. Yeah.
I got one more unfair question. I got one more unfair question for you before we go. You ready? You're going to hate this one. Outside of your own family, who is your favorite Virginia Tech Hokie football player?
Outside of my family? Oh, somebody,
outside of your family.
So they cheated.
Your favorite.
I was gonna say Mike. Mike did
I
Marcus.
know.
Oh my God, that's the toughest question I've ever had. That was that's the toughest question since my wedding day, man.
Sorry.
No, I'm just playing. Shout out to my wife. Oh my gosh, bro! Like,
I know.
My gosh, because I mean, I that will change every day. Because you got guys like Myron Newsom, my high school teammate linebacker that played at Virginia Tech. I love watching Macho Harris. Macho Harris was must-see TV. Oh my God, Antonio Freeman comes to mind. Oh, why would you ask me? Oh,
I know. I'm sorry.
Cam Chancellor. I think although Cam was fun to watch, probably more in Seattle, but he's one of my favorite guys. Tyrod, definitely. If I was on a game show, I would probably say Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor also played at my high school.
That's mine.
I think Tyrod Taylor is class personified. You hear stories about how he talked to the lunch ladies, how he helped clean up after lunch, in the dining hall, how he talked to kids, took pictures. And he was clutch. You think about the what ifs. If he takes a red shirt and they don't burn that red shirt against LSU when he came in and scored their only touchdown, I feel like he comes back for that 5th year and Tech makes it to the national championship, or at least they get in the conversation and get close. You talk about 3 conference championships. You talk about the comeback against Nebraska where, he drove them down the field. The offense was inept the entire game. He throws a touchdown pass to Darrell Roberts with Adonica Sue hanging on his jersey. He also had that great run against Florida State where he was 2-1 against Florida State. And the one loss he had, he got hurt in the first quarter. So that's really not on him.
It doesn't count,
He beat Florida State twice. And one of them, he had a 3rd and 34 where he ran and picked up a first down. You talk about going 4-0 against UVA. You talk about that great performance against Florida State in the ACC championship game. He also beat Nebraska at night. He was undefeated against Miami. He beat Miami in Miami for a big ACC showdown, 31-17. You can make an argument, and I've had this debate just to have fun debates. You can make an argument with him and Mike when it comes to like impact on Virginia Tech football. Because again, we know Mike is the GOAT, but however, to have 3 at conference championships, to be the player of the year in the ACC, and to do what Tyrod did. So that question, I hope it's answered. Right now is Tyrod Taylor. But do not crucify me when me and Rick do our show and one of y'all ask me again and I say it's somebody else, because there's so many guys. I think that's what makes being a fan of a program like Tech when they're really doing well, even when they're not as good, fun, because, and you just talked about in your last segment, that's the hard part under this new era where I can fall in love with a receiver or a lineman and he'll be there 2 years and then he'll be at Syracuse the next 2. And that's the hard part. But that's why I'm in love with Virginia Tech. I love Tech. That's my school. I love everything about Southwest Virginia as far as my time there. So But right now, guys, in the IGMA segment is Tyrod. Tyrod, he's just a great person too, man. I would go and take my kids. I have pictures with him with my children. I interviewed him when I was a writer for 247 Sports. He's just a phenomenal person. Quietly, he's had a great career. People think, oh, well, he's not Aaron Rodgers, he's not this. That guy has been in the league a long time, and he's serviceable where he comes in. He can give you a 4, 5, 6 game stretch. He also took the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs where they hadn't been in 20 years, and he was a Pro Bowler that year. Right. The problem is his timing. Every time he became the guy, you have a guy behind him where the Cleveland quarterback became the guy. And then, when he was in Buffalo, the kid that's there now was right behind Tyrod. They drafted him. So, anyway, Rick, thanks for letting me jump on today, man.
No, it was great, man. And speaking of, we talked about our show, DV, if I can get this right. You like this. Here's our logo. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
What do you think?
Yeah, man. You got me looking. Got me looking. I'm about to go hurt somebody.
You're getting ready to go. Wayne came up with the basic now. Wayne, got to give Wayne credit for that. He came up with, look at you. You're right. I mean, there's not a defensive lineman who stands a chance.
Yeah, man. That's back when I had a lot of hair and, I didn't have that much gray in my beard. That's back when yeah, man. I mean, look, I look like, say something about Rick Washington. You got to see me.
That's right. It looks like I'm getting ready to sell you a computer from Best Buy. That's what
You look like those guys that were working in that store at 40 years of 40-year-old virgin. The guy that
I do.
Yeah. Nah, man. Hey, I like it. I'll rock with it, man. Yeah,
it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to that. So that'll start during football. We'll get it all together. And I know Dwight's got some ideas. It's coming, folks. It's gonna be
absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate
great stuff,
it,
man. Great takes as always, brother. Great. Hey, I'm getting married this weekend.
Who?
I'm getting married this weekend.
I thought I heard that the other day. I had you on. I said, wait a minute. Did he say married? You getting married?
Yeah, I am on Saturday. So I won't be here next week. We'll reconvene in 2 weeks.
Congratulations. Now,
thank you, man. Number 2 for me. Number 2.
I'm about to say this is your second one, right?
Yeah, it's the second one. Yeah.
Okay. So let's make sure this time we good. I'm a therapist.
I know. I might need to. Yeah, we might need to break into this.
You need a license. You need a session. I'm free of charge. I got you.
Okay, good.
Because
I might get a call.
One of these degrees behind here is a marriage and family therapy degree. So yeah.
So I consulted with you.
I can save everybody's marriage except mine.
Legally, I'm okay. Except okay.
No, man. Look, congratulations, man. Enjoy every moment. God bless your future wife. God bless your son. God bless everybody watching, man. Don't take all this stuff so seriously. Smile and enjoy this stuff, man, because
that's right.
You never know when it might be your last segment. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. Great stuff as always, man. You have a great weekend.
You too, boss.
Take care, DB. There you go. Great stuff. The great Dwight Vick. There's no following that. We're done for the day. Thanks, everybody in chat. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. Thanks to David Smith, Bob Black, and Dwight Vick. You're not going to find this. It's not even about me. You're not going to find a show with those type of folks anywhere. Good luck. Good luck. Finally, Friday edition tomorrow. Enjoy your Thursday. We will see you then, everybody. Take care.